See if I can make this work. Copy the. Let's see. Copy that. Let's see now. Now it's saying everything's working. Jeez. Tell you what, this thing. Okay. All right. That's fine though. That's fine though. Still rumbling outside like crazy, you know. So, my boy Phil. That's right. I'm going to name drop. I talk all the time to the guy who owns like 10 comic shops in Southeast United States. And I've known him for like at least maybe even 40 years. And some days he is a pain in my absolute ass. But he's always super cool. You know, it's like I was trying to get him to buy all my 40K stuff, and he delegated as someone who is probably a little older than me, actually, and owns a big business would do. You delegate. You tell me to seek out his employee. But the problem, if my bro, and I would call him a bro, Phil has a problem. His problem is, see, I'm getting ready to do some shading, but I want to thin the shade down. So I've got this big old bottle of Liquitex. That's right. I bought it when I used to do a lot of work with my airbrush, which I may do at some point in the future. I may actually bring it in. I have, I think it's a Ninja with the little compressor. And I could, if I cleaned up in here, I could bring it in and just set up a little area to do it. I just don't. It wouldn't hurt anything. It wouldn't run anything. There wouldn't be any mess, but I could do that. So anyway, now I'm actually doing my thing. Yeah, I missed Shadow this morning. I'll have to rewatch him. I did watch PB interviewing, I guess, the guy who runs games for PB. That was fun. And the one person in chat, I really like that person. I've seen him around a couple of times. I think it's Jill or Jess. They always seem really cool to chat to. You know, we're at. I think that person was in a chat with me somewhere else, and they were asking me a bunch of questions. Very polite too, because I was answering all their questions, and they're all like, "I really appreciate you taking the time to answer this, that, and everything." Attempt number 2. Here's the thing with me, and my current wife, and all of my ex-wives and girlfriends will tell you this. Yeah, I don't quit. I am an optimist in that way. I will keep going until shit works. Or, you know, there's just no chance of shit work. That is just my way. The way of James, right? I don't give up. Now, like I said, I was going to go outside and take a bunch of this crap I've got laying around and primer it up. I've got some rattle can primer from Army Painter over here. And I'm going to prime it up necrotic flesh. So kind of an off-white, more of a greenish color. And Daniel, how you doing, brother? Yeah. Yeah, I did. Um, Raining 7 o'clock. it's been raining. And I make a video about Big Face about them multiple times in live streams, and I decided to have a look online. I've never encountered the Evil Dungeon Master. And I have only ever watched his video on the Pig Faced Orcs. But I have to say, I liked it. Liked it a lot. That is, that's good. Is your no, Steven, I keep looking for it. I can't find it. And I'm like, well, just somebody please link that shit in Discord. I mean, you just seen me spend 20 minutes fighting with Restream. So at that point, you should know about what you're dealing with when it comes to technology and finding stuff. I'm damn near brain damaged when it comes to that. So, yeah. So, yeah, just putting this flesh wash on with a little bit, well, actually quite a bit of the quite a bit of the Liquitex, because I want the I don't want the flash wash to be too strong, because I've already like painted them and highlighted them, and I want to make sure that that highlight doesn't get covered up. That's the problem when if you use some washes, if you don't thin them down sometimes, whatever you're trying, you know, anything you've got going on underneath will just get muddled up. When what I'm really wanting to use this wash for is more of to bring the whole miniature together, as far as, because the difference between the base coat and the highlight is pretty extreme, right? So what I'm doing is I'm pretty much knocking down the highs and blending in the lows so that it looks a lot more homogeneous, you know, a lot more realistic, honestly. I mean, if I didn't care about these guys looking realistic or not, I'd left them as they were, because they look good. They just look a little cartoonish, right? And I'm going for a more, you know, gritty, realistic look. Oh. Last night was a good night, or Saturday, not last night. That's been multiple nights ago. But something on my table kind of reminded me of the game. And basically, the Conan board game by Monolith comes with like a big old sack of these things, these little, and they come in like 6 colors, right? So having bought 2 boxes of the Conan board game, I have many of those. And I always, you know, I've never actually played the Conan board game by Monolith. So, you know, which is a shame, but being that it's mostly just a combat game, that's not the kind of game my wife is into, and whatever, right? But the other night when we were playing Hyperborea, I for sure ended up using one of those rings, because one of the players decided to use a ring of invisibility. So I just put her in that ring and I said, "You're invisible." And did I have to do it? No. I mean, I'm cognizant enough about life that I could have just remembered she was invisible. But for some reason, it just like tickled me to death, you know? I was like, I finally got to use these, you know? Cool. Anyway, though, I don't know if Paul's still around, but I liked his. He did a video the other day, long form, because I think the first video I watched of his was way too short. It left me really wanting about another hour of stuff, you know. So last night he did about a 90 odd minute video talking to someone I'd never heard of, but you know what? I've never heard of anybody, so whatever. And there was some pretty good conversation in the thing. Uh, at least, like I said, me and that Jill person, we always seem to like hit it off. Even though, you know, I don't know anything about that person, whether it's a boy, a girl, whatever. But we always seem to get along. And Doc was there. And apparently that's the game they're playing, is the new game by Doc Flamingo. And that's exciting. That is exciting. I mean, I've got his old game. It's actually right here. And I like it a lot. And I would say if you're looking for a more medieval type game, I mean, right? The problem with me being supportive of a lot of other people's game development is I'm so freaking infatuated with the one I'm currently infatuated with and probably always will be. So, you know, I kind of get it that Doc and those guys, they're over there because they're trying to sell product. My channel is not a great channel for those guys to sell product. Because while I'll be like, oh yeah, I'm sure that's a great game, I'm not probably ever going to play it. I can't say I never will, but probably never will because I already run a game. And it's a game that I really, really love. So my channel cannot help them in any way other than to say that I think Doc is a great guy. And the last game he sent me for free, but don't think that means I'm going to be nice to him. How are you doing, big guy? Big James. I always call him Big James. I don't know if he's bigger than me or not, but I don't care. I like calling him Big James. All I can say is the last works I've read by Doc Flamingo, I liked. I thought it was good. I thought that it could use like a little bit more work when it comes to layout and editing, make it look a little bit more maybe professional, if that's even the word. But the actual foundation of the game was there. You know what I mean? It is an incredibly playable game that people could have a lot of fun playing. So Draw Still, if that's another one of his creations, I have no doubt it's probably a good game. No doubt. Now, me personally, I created a game too in 2017. And everything I'm saying as a negative versus Doc's game applies like 3 times as much to mine. The game I wrote, incredibly playable, but incredibly amateurish in layout, in you know, it's how it's represented, everything, you know. Like if I were to not be so lazy and decide to do a second edition, I would fill it full of AI art. I would get like a homeboy called Skillet involved. I would redo a couple of things that when I playtest it for a year. Like the troll, I was not a huge fan of some of the ways the troll acted in game. Seemed a little OP actually. Now my troll was more like a sort of Shannara troll than like, you know, I did have the slimy green trolls, but they were called like Vorlax. something. I renamed them. So yeah, I mean, I could do all that. I could, I could use my incarnate mapping, since I've paid for the level where you can actually use it in games. And I could use a bunch of AI art instead of hand drawn art that I did, or just stock art, um, because I do have a thing to AI art program that I never use. It's called like Night something. I noticed on my bank statement that, yeah, I'm still paying for that. I haven't used it in like 4 months. So, yeah. See, these are all things I could do if I weren't just a lazy bastard. Just, you know, there were a couple of other guys out there that said they wanted to get into game design, and I kid you not, I tried to talk them into just taking my game and like doing something with it for free. I'm like, I don't even want anything as long as you say based on work by DM James. I am good. Knock yourself out with it, right? And I had a couple guys say they would, but I sell about one copy a year, and I haven't even cashed in the money on Lulu or whatever. So, you know, and I'm sure the people I sell to are probably all people who listen to me. But I mean, I'll tell you, I made the game because my mom couldn't tell the difference between dice. So I made a game that only needed die 20s. Specifically two. You only need two. But it's not a 2 die 20 game. It's a game where you roll your die 20 and add your modifiers versus the person you're attacking, who does the same. And then whoever has the higher total succeeds, right? So if you're attacking an orc, I've said this before, but I'll repeat it because it gives me something to do while I'm putting this wash on these guys. And with all the Liquitex it's in, it's practically not wash. It's practically almost like a freaking varnish. Which maybe I should have just busted my Army Quick Shade down. Did that. But anyway, yeah, so if you've got a +5 on your offense versus a guy with a +4 on their defense, and you're attacking them, you both roll die 20 and add your bonus. And then if the attacker rolls higher, they hit, and if they roll lower, they miss. And then damage is the weapon's damage factor times the difference. That might sound complicated, but when most hand weapons out there are like, just a weapon factor 1, right? So if you beat the guy by 4, you do 4 damage plus strength. And then armor deducts damage. Super easy. Kind of swingy though, because heaven help you if you're defending and you roll like a nat 1 and your opponent rolls like a 20. It does happen. Jack Black, what's up, brother? That means that you just got cracked for 19 damage plus strength modifiers and stuff, right? Hopefully you've got good armor on, because the way hit points worked in my game, yeah, that's gonna hurt a lot. And the only real complication for combat was if the attacker rolls a 1 and the defender rolls a 20, you immediately flip it around. Decado, how you doing, brother? Good to see you. I'm painting blimmies. Actually, I'm putting shade on blimmies, and then I'm going to do detail work on blimmies. So what that means is, if you're the attacker and you roll a nat 1, and the defender rolls a nat 20, you have to re-roll. Except during the re-roll, you're the defender, and the other guy becomes the attacker. And this is how I represented fumble. Like, if you're trying to attack somebody and they defend so well, and your attack is so lame, that what actually happens is they get a chance to try to damage you, and it takes place on your turn. So it's like, basically, you just lost your turn, and this guy gets a shot at you, right? That's kind of the only complication to the system as I wrote it. So yeah, I could 100% open that system back up. Now, like I said, it's been almost 10 years since I wrote it, at least. And just put a bunch of AI art and stuff in there and make it look more professional. Probably, maybe hire an editor instead of just having my mom proofread it. Won't hire an artist, though. I know that's going to piss a lot of people off, but when I looked into art back in that time, I mean, people were wanting, $300 for this and that and the other. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing it, man. I'm not doing it. So in the original game I wrote, it's just me hand drawing, with a pen. And it looks it too, buddy. It looks it. So, Ducato, how's your Castles and Crusades game going? I hope it's still going very well. And on the PB thing, which if you haven't watched Paul's channel, subscribe to it, watch it. He's a lot more organized than I am. Like, he was keeping, whoever his guest was, he was keeping that dude on task the whole time. It was just like snap, snap, snap. And there was a point where he even said, which I didn't take it personal, but I was getting on him a little bit. He's like, not like some channels that go on for like 5 hours and they're all over the place. I'm like, I feel attacked. And he's like, what? Because I do that. I do that. I know I do that. And I know it's not for everybody. And I also know I'm probably never stopping. So there's that. It's probably just how it's going to be. And I know a lot of people, they don't like when I mention politics or religion occasionally. And all I can say is, well, that's just how it's going to be. So if somebody talking about religion aggravates you, maybe you ask yourself why it aggravates you so much. I mean, Meanwhile, I'm over here trying to spread the good word of the Sagwa. Actually, no. In Hyperborea, because I always talk about Hyperborea a lot, the Carolingian Franks, and that's a type of human you can absolutely play, right? They are the followers of Charlemagne that got shot across time and space and ended up on 88th session. Nice. Let me figure out 6 months times 4. So I'm on like my 24th session, I guess. Because we play generally weekly. And that's not even an accurate number because we've had to miss games. Like when I had to go to, Georgia, or when I got to go to Kentucky, or wherever. We're going to miss a game coming up because I've got a baby shower that I have to go to, and it's very far away. So me and my brother-in-law, we're all going to stay in like a, B&B. And apparently, while the ladies are doing baby shower stuff, all the guys are going to go out and do some fishing. So that could be really cool. All right. But it does mean I'll have to miss a game because I'll be gone on that weekend. And yeah, we had to take a break though. We traveled so much. Thank you, Steve. Thank you very much, sir. Um, yeah, this last 6 months, I have traveled so much. I was like basically on bended knee to my wife, being like, "Please, for the love that of all that is holy, we have to take a break. This is too much." I'm old. I'm grumpy. Sometimes I just want to stay at home. It's not, hey, Squirrel Hermit, not that I don't absolutely love my family that we visit. I do. But it's like, I think some of you probably get where I'm coming from. It's like we worked hard to get this house. I work hard all the time to maintain it. And my wife works hard keeping it clean and smelling nice. And sometimes I just want to stay here. You know what I mean? Right? It's like, ugh. Do I love visiting my brother-in-law up in Jackson? Yeah, I love it. And of course I love visiting my mom because I'm a big mama's boy. But I love sitting in my house too. I am a homebody, let me tell you, man. Like, I get on here and I talk a lot and I'm super friendly with all you guys. I like all you guys, obviously. But in my weekly actual life, the only person I talk to on a daily basis is my wife. Just got done painting my Nyarlathotep from Reaper. I didn't even know they did that. I have some 3D prints that I made a long time ago. Like this is there's a name for this one, but it's Nyarlathotep being summoned out of the ground. And I've got the big red one I showed you that's got like the red tongue of Nyarlathotep. It's this giant thing, But then again, I've also just got the little human that looks weird, but it's because it's Nyarlathotep and you're supposed to paint him like black. And then, with the robes he's wearing. So, interestingly enough, I don't think Nyarlathotep is mentioned by name in Hyperborea, but I'm willing to bet he's got to be there somewhere. You know what I mean? Because if Cthulhu and Thagwa and all those other Lovecraftian deities, Ithaca, like if they're all there, then Nyarlathotep's got to be there. Unless we're going under the assumption that Azathoth has been somehow destroyed. Because, Nyarlathotep is the soul of Azathoth. Since Azathoth is the blind idiot god at the center of all of the universe, right? The nuclear chaos. Nyarlathotep is actually its conscience, but in another body, right? Now, August Derleth, he kind of set it up to where Azathoth was kind of a picture like Satan, basically, kind of, but not. And that he was made an idiot god and trapped at in the universe by our actual Abrahamic God. A lot of people don't like that about August Derleth. Like in August Derleth stories, a priest with a crucifix can actually affect great old ones. And the more Lovecraft purists, yeah, they really don't like that. Plus, he divided all the great old ones up by elements. So Cthulhu is, or Tulu is like a water thing, and like Cathagua, the Lord of the Fire Vampires, is the fire guy. It goes, Yig represents the earth, and I think Ithaca, the Wind Walker, the Wendigo, he represents the air. He did a lot of weird stuff like that. But one thing he also did is make sure that Lovecraft stories never went out of print. So, as a true fan of Lovecraft, you got to take the good with the bad, right? I mean, if you don't like a bunch of the stuff he did, that's a perfectly acceptable opinion. But you can't just like write him off, because if it were not for him, chances are you wouldn't even know who Lovecraft was, right? That guy spent his entire life making sure that Lovecraft stories would never die. And if you didn't know who Lovecraft was, imagine how that would have affected Howard and Clark Ashton Smith, since they were part of that whole circle of guys that were constantly griping at and bouncing stories. I mean, Clark Ashton Smith was actually going to stop writing because he was having such a hard time selling his Hyperborean stories. Except for Lovecraft wrote him a letter telling him, don't stop. True story, guys. True story. H.P. Lovecraft wrote a letter to Clark Ashton Smith and told him, do not stop. And then, fortunately for the world, Clark Ashton Smith actually started selling some of those Hyperborea stories. And now we have a wonderful role-playing game. And it all really comes down to the fact that H.P. Lovecraft stepped in as the elder gentleman of this bunch and told Clark Ashton Smith, do not stop. Keep writing. And I think the story that actually got renowned for him and then like kicked off the rest of his Hyperborean career is the one where the guy's trying to sell the stolen gemstone. And he sells it to the merchant, but then the gemstone rolls away and the merchant chases it. If you haven't read that story, I'll have to look up the name of it, or someone else will. It's a pretty interesting story, let me tell you. And I believe it takes place in Quimerium. Like, the merchant chases that red gemstone all the way to, like, some of the... it should be, yeah. The one, I'll let you distract me for a second. The one aspect of Nyarlathotep, the one they call like the Screamer in the Dark or something like that, is huge. It's not the Seven Geese. In this one, the guy, the merchant, is chasing the red stone, and he ends up falling into a room full of gemstones and treasure. And then that's where he meets this other being. Now, spoilers, this was written in the 30s, so no spoilers. It's just a really strange, weird kind of interaction, tale, whatever. And it's a short story. It's a very short story, right? But it's definitely one worth reading. Now, the Seven Geeses, that's the one where the guy he keeps going to one god, then the next deity, then the next deity. Like, he talks to Tsagwa, he talks to Atlach-Naka, he talks about, like, he keeps getting sent further and further down, having to talk to all of these, like, Lovecraftian deities. And, that's a wild one, too. And then there's the one where the guys try to rob the tomb of Sagwa, and they get jumped by the those inky black things that serve the Sagwa, and one guy gets killed and the other guy gets an arm ripped off, and he's the guy who's living that's talking about what happened. Very D&D, very D&D. I mean, right down to they're in a tavern, they're trying to figure out how to get money, they're drinking wine, and one of them's like, hey, there's this ruined temple on the outskirts of town, maybe we could go there, blah blah blah. And then they go there, and yeah, all hell breaks loose. And so you've got the guy who survived basically writing the story of what happened with, his left hand because the right one is gone. Yeah, it is a good story about greed. The guy bought the gemstone thinking it was stolen, ripped the guy who sold it off because, saying it was stolen, and then ends up paying a very high price for his activities, his behaviors. So yeah, it is a story about greed. Another one that's really good is the one where the guy who lives way up in the tundra finds the cave, and there's like the frozen bodies of a king and his entourage in the cave, and you can see the gemstones on him. So he goes to the merchant and he hooks up a deal to go back to try to, dig through the ice and get those gemstones. And then stuff happens because in the realm of Hyperborea, ice is not an inanimate thing. There is actually a deity called Yikorth, and he is the deity who is in charge of ice and glaciers and all that sort of stuff. He shares that title with Ithaquah. So the ice itself, like, imagine if you went to Kentucky, not Kentucky. I got Kentucky on my mind always. Imagine if you went to visit the Blue Glacier of Alaska, right? But you didn't quite understand that glacier was literally inhabited by demons that were possessing that glacier. Well, that's kind of how it is in Hyperborea. Like, the glaciers are not just things. They're not just collections of ice. They have demonic intelligences behind them. And they do, I mean, also, I don't care about spoilers since this is, again, almost, it was written in the 30s. Long story short, when the guy goes back to start digging through to try to dig those corpses out to steal their gemstones, the giant ice cave they're in, it narrows up and to swallow them of its own accord, because you can't trust the glaciers in Hyperborea. You cannot trust the glaciers. The Necromancer City, yeah. In Hyperborea, the role-playing game, that's the Ixian city. And Ixians are basically like Scythians, except they're different, but they're not that different, right? And they culturally are way, way into necromancy. Or necromancy, however it's said correctly. So if you go to the homeland of the Ixians, which everyone pretty much hates them with a white hot passion, the Cimmerians and pretty much every other culture existing on Hyperborea hates Ixians pretty much. In the areas the Ixians typically rule over, there are more slaves than there are living, or more dead than there are living people walking around. Now, They also say that the Ixians may be related to the ancient Egyptians. And when they say ancient Egyptians, they mean super ancient, like before the Greeks even encountered the Egyptians. They do tend to have dusky skin and dark hair, and so, whatever. And in the city of Zambala, which is basically a giant slave city, the slaves there are all pretty much hybridized Ixians and Eskimo. And within the title of Eskimo, whether it's Inuit or Kipchak or whatever, pick whichever one you want. But it's pretty much that's what they are. And they are freaking hated by everyone. Not only are the Ixians that rule hated by pretty much everyone, but the Ixian Eskimo slaves are also hated by everyone and will do everything they can to try to convince people that they're not Ixian. So Zambala is pretty much a satrapy that answers to, I think it's Ikorth or whatever the name of the main city is, which is ruled over by a necromancer queen of otherworldly beauty who apparently just never ages. And she's been ruling that city for longer than most men can even remember. So, yeah. And then some of these Ixian Eskimos, they've decided that it would be a good idea to start filing their teeth into points and being cannibals. I talk about that. My adventuring party actually went to Zambala. And the Ixian rulers of the city don't actually give a shit that the slaves are cannibals as long as the slaves are doing what they're supposed to do for their masters. So it's kind of like you've got the one super corrupt evil bastards who have slaves, but also practice necromancy and all that. And they have slaves that are actively worshiping Yag, the god of cannibalism, and are kidnapping and eating people all over the place. But as long as those slaves are keeping the gardens clean and the roads done, their masters don't care because it doesn't affect them. Yeah, like I was reading, you know what? And that is so true, Ducato. I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you, my bro. Yeah, the other day I was reading through it and I saw this tiny little paragraph that I had not noticed before where it talks about in recent years on Hyperborea, Romans have been showing up. Just, you know what I mean? Like, so I guess there's weird cycles or something where nobody shows up maybe for centuries, and then all of a sudden whole damn culture starts showing up. And at the current age of Hyperborea, shit tons of like Caesarian, Augustan Romans are showing up in Hyperborea, and they're doing everything they can to find each other and to set up basically their own homeland in Hyperborea. And at this time, according to me, based on that lore, there is a burgeoning town that may become a city one day called Nova Roma. And the vast majority of the people who live there are Romans, straight up Romans. However, there is a minority of common men who may or may not be part Roman, but also part Celt, Cimmerian, whatever. So they don't actually have a pure like ethnicity to look to. They're just humans. Not that the Romans give a shit, really, and the Greeks who've almost been completely assimilated. So most common men in Hyperborea are probably part Greek, But there are some enclaves or enclaves of ethnically pure Greeks that are doing everything they can to make that a thing, right? They're trying to rebuild a Greek nation, except maybe, I don't know, maybe I should ask some of the Greek guys, hey, in this fantasy game, your men just can't stop sleeping with the natives, man. So the idea of Greek is hanging on the edge because you guys can't keep your Greek wee-wees out of every Celt or Cimmerian woman that happens down the street. I don't know. I mean, that's crude, but it is kind of, I guess, the thing is that the Greeks that have showed up to Hyperborea, they have integrated with every damn body. As a matter of fact, a lot of the Greeks integrated straight in with the Amazons. So, you know, it just be like that sometimes. Whereas the Celts, you have pure-blooded Celts, but you have also Cimmeri Celts, where the Cimmerians and the Celts border. There's whole cities there of Cimmeri Celts. So I feel like I'm watching an old Godzilla movie right now. Why am I being like, rrrr? Yeah, I wanted to get these Scorpion Men primered up today too. But yeah, you're so right, Picado. Every time I crack open the book and read through the lore, whatever, like the other night, I had to send some stuff out. This is stuff I knew, but I never really thought about too much. It's like I read it, I knew it existed, but I didn't think about it. And then yesterday, I was like, no, this needs to be thought about because it's important, right? Most of my players have not really studied the player's handbook as much as maybe they should have. And I guess you can blame me for not like really pushing it, even though a couple of my players, they own their own books. Oh, the mouth ain't moving right with the words. That happens. I've desynced. Either it'll fix itself or I'll hit I'll hit the renew thing and it'll line back up. That happens. The video and with Restream anyway. Like I said, I'm getting used to Restream just sucking. But before I worry about that, since I had to fight with it just to get it to be on YouTube today, I had to post all of the advanced rules for Combat Town. Because, yeah, like I said, it's still rumbling out there. Because my players, who are now at level 4, and a couple of them maybe even level 5, I'm sure. Maybe one of them has only ever tried an advanced combat maneuver. No, 2 of them did. So I had to point out to the fighters, happy Wednesday to you, Daniel. I hope you're doing wonderful, sir. I had to point out to the fighters, I'm like, you know, if you master a weapon, it increases your rate of attack, right? They didn't know that. Like, I'm talking to my wife last night. I'm like, you know, between level 1 and 6, you actually attack 3 times every 2 rounds with the weapons you have mastered. She's like, so you're saying I've been basically losing an attack every 2 rounds since I've been playing the game? I'm like, yes, that's exactly what's up, you know? And she's like, oh, I didn't know that. And I'm sitting here thinking, I'm pretty sure I explained this, but I'm not totally sure. So I let that one slide, right? Maybe I didn't explain it, you know, because, you know, maybe whatever. Which means she should be a lot happier though, because now instead of attacking once per round with that big freaking axe she whirls around, she can attack 3 times every 2 rounds. That's good. Yeah, the arrow setting rule. Yeah, I had to explain that because we have an archer in the group. If you know you're going to do combat and you stick a bunch of arrows in the ground in front of you, the way the British used to do, say, it increases your rate of attack because you're just. If you're a fighter and you take mastery of like darts, you can attack twice a round or 5 times every 2 rounds with darts. Which means if you're playing a Roman legionnaire, hey Timmy, and you decide to play a straight up fighter Roman legionnaire, you can master your gladius or spatha, and if you want to get crazy, master the javelin or the dart, and all of a sudden at level 1 on your turn you're chucking 2 or 3 darts every round, and those darts do die 4 damage plus strength. So if you're playing a straight up fighter and you've got any amount of a high strength, and hopefully your dex doesn't suck, before you actually engage with the enemy, you just chuck all 5 of your darts in 2 rounds, which is about what you would have on the inside of your scutum. And there's so many, like in Hyperborea, like CNC, you've got like cautious move. Then you've got like half move to engage. And then you've got double move run. And then you've got charge, which is like a double move, except you get a -2 to your armor class, but +2 to hit for that round. And then the list of optional shit. Like shield breaker. If you're a fighter and you have mastery of like a great axe, you literally can attempt to shatter somebody's non-magical shield. Just bust it right off their arm, right? You can try to hook them with a shield or with your axe. Like there's all kinds of like these maneuvers that you actually see in movies that mostly fighters can just do if they want to. You can set the spear for a charge, obviously. We all know about setting the spear for the charge. That goes way back. But how about just using a great axe and shattering a shield right off your opponent's arm? Or if your dex is 13, dual wield, just go nuts. Use 2 weapons. And a fighter, think about this, a fighter with a high dex and mastery with daggers gets to attack like 5 times every 2 rounds or some shit. It's literally nuts. And then there's an optional rule where you can use an offhand weapon for defense as a fighter. So you can just go ahead and use your offhand weapon to parry and stabby like 4 times every 2 rounds, twice per round, because that's just what you want to do. If you have a strength bonus, that's actually kind of OP because the dagger does the die 4, right? But you're attacking twice and you're getting to add your +2 or +3 strength bonus. So in theory, with a dagger at level 1, you could do 14 points of damage in one round. Just 1 round, 14 points. That's as much as the max damage of somebody who mastered. Oh, I'm not even counting the +1 damage you get for mastering the dagger. So let's add 2 more to that. You did 16 damage. Emotional damage, right? Oh, I use the Tasagwa's Woe rules, where if you roll a 1, you got to roll on a chart to see what happens. And some of that shit is bad. I use it. I like, another thing, Ducato. I don't know if you probably have the way they do critical hits in Hyperborea, where you roll 1 dice 6, and it tells you how much of a critical it is. It's like a 1 or 2, you just add +2 to your damage, but then like a 3, 4, 5, you do double damage, but like on a 6, it's triple damage. I mean, if you got somebody whipping around a die 10 weapon, great sword, great axe, and they crit and they roll the 6 for the crit, 3 die 10 damage, it's pretty rough. Of course, it goes the other way too, right? So, yeah, my brother recently, I sent him a link too, and he never showed up. My brother recently picked up a footman flail. He can use it as a cleric. And the thing with the footman's flail is it ignores shields. So if you have a large steel shield and say it's a +2 shield, that's adding 4 to your armor class, right? But against a guy with a flail, they ignore that shit. So now your armor class 0 become an armor class 4 or 5, whatever. I'd have to count it on the list. I think 4, right? You just become way easier to hit. That's like having a +4 to hit on top of any other bonuses they may have. They just ignore your shield. Of course, I mean, flails are brutal if you crit because, you probably smack yourself or someone else in the face. And when you're talking a footman's flail, that thing does die 10 damage because it's actually a polearm, right? It's like a 5-foot half with a chain attached to a 2-foot long steel bar covered in, spikes or something, maybe even multiples of these things on chains. Not a weapon that's easy to control, but brutal as shit versus anybody trying to use a shield. Because you're going right over that shield. Smack them right in the face. Or the back of the head. Or wherever, It's just definitely this is not a fun thing for you to be involved in, but there's other rules too that I was telling them about. Like there's a dodge rule. There's like all these rules, I feel like. So I posted a lot of those rules on my Discord and linked them to the players that are on my Discord. And I'm like, read these rules. And definitely need to tell Hungar about reading those rules. Even though he plays a cleric, there's still a lot of those rules that apply. Like there's the shield bash rule. Who can use that? Basically anybody who can use shields can shield bash you right in the face. And, I mean, of course I keep these here when I'm sitting here, but going to the back, past the spells, adventure action procedures. I like that. They explain time and light. Becoming lost. Very easy. But then combat. And they've got what the penalty is if you're attacking with weapons you're not skilled in. Fighters are skilled in every weapon. Oh, yeah. Well, the problem with AD&D is a lot of the rules in AD&D were overcomplicated. And the example I always give is like unarmed combat. That was just like, what are you thinking about, right? But like here, you got missile rates of fire. So like a guy with a longbow has a base rate of fire of 3 attacks every 2 rounds, right? That's anyone who can use a longbow attacks 3 every 2 rounds, right? But a fighter that has mastered longbow between level 1 and 6 attacks twice a round. And between 7 and 12, that same fighter attacks 5 times every 2 rounds with the longbow. These are things that the people in my group were not looking at. And I'm sitting here like, no, you need to look at that shit. Like the heavy crossbow, if you master that at level 7, you attack every round with that thing. You have gotten so good at reloading and firing this heavy crossbow that you can do it every round. And heavy crossbows are not a joke, dude. They are not a joke at all. But yeah, the dagger, base rate of fire for throwing a dagger is 3 daggers every 2 turns. And then if you have a mastery of that dagger, you can throw 2 every turn. Darts, 5 every 2 turns. So 2 then 3 is how they normally do it. 2, 3, 2, 3. So, you know, and then if you're using a melee weapon, the dagger, and you master it, you attack 3 times every 2 turns. That's pretty damn good. So, and then of course, basic fighters. Timmy's quiet because I'm talking too much. Double D, crossbows do die 6 plus 2 base damage, and their range is great. And Double D, I've sent you shit on X, which apparently now I'm going through a thing, and Discord, and you haven't looked at them, so I don't know what you're doing. But the last one was a critical role thing where Marisha Ray has to make a roll because of her giant tits or something. I thought you'd get a kick out of that. But then, yeah, you flip the next page over too. And remember, when you master a weapon, you get +1 to hit, +1 damage. Basic fighter, only the standard fighter in Hyperborea can double master, called Grand Mastery. They get +2/+2 with a weapon. They can only do it with 1 weapon ever, though. And they get a bunch of other bonuses too, so. So, yeah. That's good. The reaction chart, I use this all the time. I love it. Instead of making people make a roll for like, I don't know, whatever. Yeah, I know. I sent it to your ex too, but I told a guy who had said he fought in Ukraine. He was in New Zealand now, and how great they did. And I responded with, you know, well, Russia keeps taking your land, so you didn't do that great. And he came back with snarky thing. And I said, well, look, man, 1 million Ukrainians have died trying to hold the line. You're on here talking shit. If you were on the line, why did you leave? I mean, the honorable thing would have been to die with your brothers, right? Holding the line. Well, apparently X does not like that. And I had to send him a thing saying, look, I wasn't saying I wanted the guy to die. You know, and I let him know I am a combat vet, and I with 2 theaters of operation. And I'm just saying this is how it is. You don't brag about defending the line when you're sitting on your ass at home and all the guys in your squad are dead in the mud. That's just not what you do. That's just bad. That's just bad form, man. So in this case, I guess I'm defending the Ukrainians that died on the line against this New Zealand cosplayer. But yeah, they took it as me wishing violence on somebody. And I'm like, I'm not wishing violence on anyone. I'm saying this is how it is. But I love the reaction chart. Anytime the players try to talk to somebody, part of the propaganda wing, I guess. But then you get all these other combat actions here. That's really the meat and potatoes of this game. I love it. The fact that now they're combat options, so you don't have to do them, but you can fighting advances and mounted charges and mounted combat and mounted shooting people and overbearing and pummeling and pushing. And You know, you got all this stuff here like setting arrows. Love that one. Conservative fighting, and that does not mean fighting conservatives, you guys out there. It just means you're being very careful. So you get +1 to your armor class, but a -2 to your hit. And berserkers can't use this technique in conjunction with berserking, obviously. You know. But yeah, it pretty much means you're being careful, you're watching your guard.
Hey, Hungar.
Hey, what's up?
Oh, you were asleep, weren't you?
Yeah.
You got arm, dodge.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, dodging just forfeit your attacks.
what was all that
But-
list of things you kept sending me last night?
Yeah, those are all the abilities and combat. Yeah, see, they didn't ban me. They they banned me, but not a permanent ban, just like a day ban. But in order to start the timer, I have to choose to delete that post, or I could argue, and I chose no. I'm not deleting it. I'm going to argue.
Which post?
I didn't say anything wrong.
Which post?
The one where I told the guy that if he had any honor, he would have stayed with his brothers and died on the line.
Yeah.
He apparently, complained that I was wishing that he died, which is not true. I wasn't wishing that he died. I was stating a fact.
You said that if he had honor, he would have stayed with his bros.
Instead of running his ass home to New Zealand and then spending his time on Twitch, X, whatever, X, talking about all that shit. It's like, you got no right to talk shit. You left. Meanwhile, the guys you supposedly support are dying in the mud, and you're over here talking all this shit about, oh, we're winning. They've conquered Constantinople. That was one of the 3 fortress cities Ukraine had. They've got 2 of the 3. It's a bad thing. Yeah. Oh yeah, because you got your show tonight. I can't wait too. That was kind of why I was like trying to get it to you, because I'm like, Double D would like this. Titty old biddies.
Double D likes me.
Stephen James, as in just James before any of this, I have been banned on Twitter 4 times, permabanned. 4 times, and never got an account back, no matter how many times. But that was years ago before Elon owned Twitter.
James used to make an account and get banned on Twitter like in 10 minutes.
Oh, yeah, I'd go on there, I'd say one thing, banned. So fighters can fire bows from horseback. I love that, because you guys know how I love my horse archers and my war.
Oh, and
Yeah.
Double D, I love you too, brother.
Yeah, I love you too, Double D. You know that.
And hello, everybody.
Shield bashing, shield binding. So that's where you actually tie up someone's shield. Shield covering for allies. This is the one I love. Shield wall. If you have 3 combatants equipped with large shields, 3 or more equipped with large shields, you can form a shield wall, and this will give you +4 to your armor class versus all attacks while you're in the shield wall.
Oh, can I say something real quick?
Of course, that won't work against a footman's flail, but still.
Double D, I am going to be at that con in Knoxville. So if you could make it down, I'd love to have a beer with you, pick your brain a little bit.
Just remember, Hungar, cut the balls, stroke the shaft.
Yes. You gotta lick the balls. You gotta lick the balls first. You lick from the balls all the way up the shaft.
That shit just got really gay, didn't it?
You made it that way.
That's why Timmy's being quiet. because he's like, this shit's too gay. I'm just gonna.
You made it that way, which is normal for you. You always make things gay just with your presence.
I'm just happy to help because I don't know where I got it from, but the first thing that went to my mind was one, there's my Kentucky girl being a Kentucky girl, and two, Double D might have a use for this since that's the kind of stuff that he finds uses for.
What, jumping the balls?
No, homie. Marisha Ray trying to make a role to be invisible and sneak around somebody in tight corners, and them having to take into account that her character apparently has really big tits.
Yeah.
Which is not something she can brag about in real life. Yeah, that's some brotherly love right there. Like I said, the whole time I was in Kentucky, this dude spent 3 days calling me the N-word.
Hard it.
Like, I would get up for breakfast and he was waiting to be like, what are you doing? And I'm like, dude.
I missed you so much.
I know you did. That's why I was like, that's my brother being that guy. But you know what? I don't think we even think of that word as being a negative word. It's like, to us, it's a term of endearment. It's like, probably not gonna be able to make that one, Hungar. Yeah, you've been doing a shit ton of cons
possibly
lately.
next year if he's retired and I'm alive.
Right, you will be. You keep saying that every year.
Yeah,
you're never gonna. You'll outlive.
I'm
me.
living for spite.
That's right.
The doctor said.
You remember that Dark Elf book where the main character, what was his name, like Malice Demon Blade or something? Yeah. And he had that little quote about, you know, how he would never die because he just hated everything so much.
I'm just proving the doctor's wrong.
Yeah, Malice. He's like, I am so full of hate that I refuse to die.
Set my whole body on fire.
Yeah, he didn't either. He just did not die. Yeah, he's just doing his thing. Well, our family is generally pretty long-lived on you know, our matrilineal side, you know. Like my great-grandma lived to be like 100, which got really awkward because the older she got, the less of a shit she gave.
She gave zero shit.
So at like 90, she'd start bragging about how big of a slut she had been, like when she was in her 20s.
That's right, Double D. I live for the memes you said, buddy.
Living for the memes. Hey, those memes on Instagram.
You know, the ones on Twitter aren't even, or on, those Insta memes. Woo!
Yeah, the Discord memes, that's just like, that's the kindergartner memes. You get on Instagram, that's when the memes get real.
You know who I found out? Okay. I'm friends with Codarn Skillet on Insta.
Me too.
Does he send you the same reels he sends me?
Yeah, that guy lives in Georgia.
Yes, he does.
It's like all I can say about that shit.
That's right, Steven.
Yeah, Double D's getting close to being a retired man, so they'll have to put him on antidepressants and shit.
You know,
I mean, it sounds like I'm joking, but everyone I know that is like retired ended up either getting put on SSRIs or just smoking a lot of weed or something.
You know who retired?
You?
Well, yeah, Justin.
Oh,
yeah, he's.
I didn't know it. I didn't know much about it either way, but like my uncle retired, turned into a maniac, so now he drives to my mom's from Florida, Kentucky, like once a month, just to build shit. Because he worked his whole life as a mechanic, right? Rebuilding Ford trucks and shit. And it was the same thing as went through me. It was like the first month of retirement rules. And then that second month, man, you start like getting a little antsy in the pantsies, you know, like wondering what to do. So that's how he handled retirement. Is he didn't actually retire. He just goes to my mom's and builds like barns and shit because
Yeah, you gotta stay busy, Double D, when you retire, man.
see, Double D will though. He's got the hobbies, the show, and everything.
And those badass.
Exactly, Otto. And that's why you see me in here, literally being destroyed by the wave of gray.
And Double D's gotta prep for, those awesome shows on Wednesday. Nikado, I don't know if you've caught any of his videos, but if you're into D&D with terrain, then Nikado's the guy to talk to, because
Oh no, I watched Decado. It's like Troll Something Gaming or something.
Nikado's got his own channel.
I know that's his
Yeah,
channel.
and his tables are like works of art.
Dude, I woke up first thing in the morning. My YouTube was just going to whatever it wanted to go to, and I wake up, and it's Double D and a group of players. I know one of them was a woman, and they're somewhere in Normandy. It's World War II. There's a whole Norman village on a table with like a half track and a freaking German staff car. And I just wake up and I'm laying in bed and I start watching it. I'm like, okay, so this guy over here is an alcoholic apparently. And we've got the sexy Italian chick that must be some kind of resistance fighter or something. And like, and they're like infiltrating some village and there's Germans in it and like all hell is break. I watched that whole video. I was like, wow, that was kind of cool. And the terrain was really cool.
Nikado always has top tier terrain. I look forward to when he's posting a game video or a recap where I could see the crazy shit that he comes up with.
Well, I mean, okay, I don't mind glazing Decado. Decado's been a bro for years, and yes, he definitely gets his shit together, and I like it. So I would happily say 2 thumbs up. You should probably be subscribed to Decado's channel to anyone and feel like that is the right choice to make.
Especially if you like playing with figures, with miniatures. And I love playing with minis.
Yeah, the only game we play that we don't use minis is like Vampire.
Yeah. And I don't even like playing that game. So
right, and you don't even like playing that game. You just sometimes do it just to be a part of the group. But I am strongly in the miniatures camp. I know a lot of people will argue about the Mind's Eye Theater being the way to go or whatever. But I've told you guys this a million times, and those of you who've been around, you already know. Miniatures, in my opinion, they make shit easier.
And we customize our minis.
Well, no, I'm not worried about that. I'm saying just game rule wise.
Yeah.
When somebody decides to chuck that Skull of Death thing that the witch does, if you have miniatures, it's so much easier to figure out where it's going and what's happening. You don't have to, as the DM, kind of try to make up some bullshit like, well, these guys were all standing here and this guy was there, so let me just make up some bullshit and say who got hit. No, you ain't got to do that. It's honest, I think. It's like you literally say she threw it in this square. She rolled the dice. So, yes, she managed to actually hit the part of the ground she was aiming for. And ba-boom, who is in the AoE?
I think my love for minis stems from BattleTech.
Well, I mean, yes. Obviously, we played a lot of BattleTech. And that could be where the love for minis come. But what I'm telling you is my love for minis is just easy.
Yeah, for you. I'm not worried about the easy part. I'm looking at that mini as a representation of me.
Right. So when I put all of my little miniature houses on the table and whatever.
I think it's cool.
Well, yeah, but to me, it's not even that it's cool. It's that I know where everyone is.
And
Everyone.
the
I
fact,
know where the bad guys are. I know where the NPCs are. I call the players the bad guys. These days.
and the fact that
I
I
mean-
have my own mini just makes everything so much cooler.
I don't have it. I can't show it right now, but yes, I made Hungar a custom Hyperborean miniature
No,
with a big freaking footman.
Now I'm talking about me as Hungar the Starvarian.
Oh well, I do have the Hungar Mini, but I'm not going to dig it up because who
I
cares?
have it, and I can. Yeah.
I'm more concerned with your Hyperborean miniature.
We were
So,
actually figuring.
yeah.
Dakota, me and James used to hang out in our side yard where it was sand in Florida, and we had a Millennium Falcon half buried in the sand, and that was
Stupidest shit I ever did.
which was he turned into a bar, and we used our Star Wars figures, and we played mini games with we rolled dice and all that shit, and did little adventures with our Star Wars figures. We're like 12.
None of which made any sense because we were just negotiating the rules as we were playing.
But it was still fun.
So it'd be like if I had a guy, like say my Han Solo wanted to shoot his freaking the guy with the 3 eyes, you know, we would argue back and forth about what you should have to roll on a die 10. We always used the die 10. And then when we came up with an agreement, then you roll. Speed painted 20 of them. Damn.
Dakota
nice.
did the same thing with Star Wars and G.I. Joe.
Oh, we had G.I. Joes too.
I had all the
And we
G.I.
even
Joes.
invented a game of football and used our He-Man as the players.
Yeah.
Because I don't know why we did that. Maybe it was in our blood.
We're nerds.
Yeah, it was just in our blood. We just wanted to play games, but we wanted to actually know. Because, you know, when you play Cowboys and Indians as a little kid, bang, bang, I got you. No, you didn't, right? But when you roll dice and you and the other guy agreed, well, if you roll a 7 or higher, I'll say you did, and you roll the 7 or higher, then there's no, you didn't get me.
I think that's why
There's
when we played Cowboys and Indians,
You didn't get me.
we
You know?
one pump Daisy BB guns on each other.
Oh, yeah, shooting each other with BB guns. You can't argue you didn't get me with that shit.
That's true.
No, you didn't. Yeah, you 100% know.
All of mine and James's games when we were growing up together were physical, if you will.
Well, we shot each other with BB guns. We threw long darts at each other.
We played joust.
We ran at each other and then kicked each other to see who would fall down.
That's what we call jousting. Later, Double D.
Later, Double D.
Yeah,
you
Double
have a
D.
great one. I'll see you later.
Yeah, we'll see you later.
But, so yeah, my brother and I were maniacs. I think we've got that figured out. I think we can all
Remember when Bob made us those cloaks when we lived out on the ranch and we used to like
Yes.
cruise around
Yes,
in
I
the
do.
woods in our cloaks playing Lord of the Rings?
We lived in the middle of a forest, and my mom made Hungar and I cloaks with hoods. And we would make swords out of sticks and wander around the woods. This is when we were like 11 or 12 with our freaking cloaks on and shit. And I tell you, my imagination sucked because I scared myself one time. I was out in the woods in my cloak, and I started imagining I could hear footsteps coming after me. And in my brain, I immediately went to orcs are coming.
Yeah.
And I ran home. Now, bear in mind, I was like 11, highly imaginative 11-year-old.
Remember that time,
But yeah, I ran home.
remember that
I was
time we
like-
snuck up on that female boar or female pig with her babies? That was
Yeah.
stupid.
Yeah. But anyway, so all of those rules I sent to you and Dwayne, are shit that he needs to know because Tracy and Dwayne have been ripping themselves off one attack every 2 rounds
Yeah, but
since the game started.
I'm a cleric.
Yeah, but can you use a shield?
No, because I use a two-handed foe.
Oh my god, the next time I see you, I'm going to punch you in the fucking head. Can your character use a shield, asshole?
Yeah,
Then the shield rules all apply.
yeah, but I've always used a two-handed weapon.
But you could use a shield.
I could, but I don't.
Okay, never mind. So Tim,
Yeah.
how's things?
Oh,
bro?
good. My Monday
you
game
Good.
went interestingly well.
That's good.
Good. Yeah, I'm done talking to Hungar right now for a second.
Did I piss you off, bro? I'm sorry.
Not pissed off, frustrated, because you and I both know your character can use
I
a shield.
can use a shield.
You
I
just- well,
said-
And you're being a sadistic
And I
asshole.
said I could use a shield. I just said that when you made my character for me, you made me a two-handed weapon user.
Actually, originally you used a warhammer
and a shield.
and a shield. And then you start using that great hammer with no shield. And now you've got the footman's flail, which is basically a pole arm.
And I will use that until the day my character dies.
Okay.
Yeah, well, you know, my character's having a lot of people looking at him like he's a monster.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. So what have you done?
This time.
Nothing. I have a beard. That's the only thing that they look at me like that's not right.
Oh, because you're an elf with a beard.
Yes,
I told you.
it's funny. I like it.
What are you, Tannis Half-Elven or some shit over here?
No, I'm a full elf.
Well, the picture he posted of his character, he looks like Link, but with a big ass
Yeah,
beard.
yeah.
So,
I'm basically an elf archer who doesn't have any armor because I couldn't afford it. So I'm just like I'll run around with a 40 move speed and no armor and a long bow.
See, I'm not into that no armor bullshit. I want the heaviest armor I can get.
well,
I couldn't afford it. I had to buy the longbow. I couldn't buy very heavy armor. So I was
That's
just like,
when-
no armor then.
That's when you get a short bow until you kill somebody with the longbow.
Longbow. I get +1 with my longbow.
because of elf.
Yes.
Yeah.
So right now I have like a +3 to hit and +2 damage.
Yeah. I bet you feel kind of like a simp after I've been telling you what a human fighter in Hyperborea can be at level 1.
I'm okay with that. I don't care. It's a different game system.
Hyperborea is the only game system to play, in my humble opinion.
See, now I'll agree with you on that.
Yeah, well, you know what? We had fun. We got to kill some boars for our first outing. We were hired to find this one guy, see if he's okay. He's being a dumbass, saying how the orcs are good guys and they're just misunderstood.
Is he a player character?
No, it's an NPC.
Oh, then definitely kill him. I would have killed him if he was a player.
We can't.
character.
We have to use him for money. He's our ticket to money.
Kill him and steal his money.
Kill him and steal his
He
money.
doesn't have his buddy on him, and we are hired by the guards to bring him back.
Can I set up an interview with Jeff Delanian? Well, I can try. The Lucerne Hammer, yeah. I can try to do that whenever everything going on with Twitter right now works out. However it's going to work out.
All right, well, I'm going to go make dinner, my brother.
I'll see you, Hungar.
At like 3
It's
o'clock.
4:30.
Yeah, it's almost 4 o'clock. It's 3:37 here.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's.
I'm old man. I have to eat.
You know what? Go make dinner. I'm tired of talking to you.
I have to
Anyway.
eat before a certain time at night.
You're
Heck, I
frustrated.
mean, we're fixing food right now, and it's only 3:37.
I love you, brother.
Yeah, you say that.
I do.
But then you do stuff purposely to aggravate.
I wasn't
me.
trying to aggravate you, and you know I love you, so shut up your face.
Okay. I'll talk to you later.
See you later, guys. Have a good day. See you on Double D Show.
Yeah, we'll all get together and talk shit over there. Damn it.
I mean, we at least got a good amount of money for our first level characters. He gave us 22 gold apiece, and from the guards we made like 57 silver.
Okay. Okay.
And
Yeah, don't listen to me when I tell you to kill the guy.
hey, it's not like we didn't want to. It's just we couldn't.
Yeah, you don't need to be running around being that dude. There's no need for that.
Everybody was basically roasting this guy at the whole time he was there.
Let's see here. I have a bar that I'm going to put together, guys.
Nice.
It is a Reaper bar. We'll see what goes on. I will keep arguing that my post was not bad. And if Double D's right and X decides to stop being douchebags about it, then I will contact Mr. Talanian, who we follow each other on X. He did say, to get in contact with him, that he would love to join me. That is a thing that he did tell me. And I believe him. I don't believe he was just trying to be polite. I believe maybe he did have a good time listening to me go on about Hyperborea. And of course, if that does happen, then we will be talking about Hyperborea, not any of this other bullshit that we always get tied up into.
That's fair.
So, yeah, because that's the only reason I can imagine he'd want to join me is so we can talk about Hyperborea.
Yeah.
That's his baby. That's what he does. That's what I want to talk about anyway. Like the last time I talked to him, I found out some stuff about Raven, the God Raven and stuff. And now I've been looking at Warlord Games and stuff to see if I can find. Yeah, he seemed like a great guy. He didn't join the show, but he joined chat. And he and I talked for a good 30 minutes at least. And it was very enlightening, a lot of fun. And he corrected me about some misconceptions I had about some stuff. And also, what I was going to say is I'm going to need to find someone who makes good 28 millimeter miniatures of Siberian Indians and the Indians from Southeast Alaska down to British Columbia. Because I might need some of those since they are beings that exist in Hyperborea. See, you guys getting to go to cons and stuff, man. I could go to cons if I were brave, just not brave. Because when I think about leaving home and, I've gotten to where I refer to my wife as my safety wife. Because I don't like going anywhere without her. But so she's like it's almost like how some people got to have those animals to feel good about whatever. That's how I am with my wife. I don't go anywhere without her. But maybe one of these days I'll convince her to go to a convention. We have them here in Orlando, multiple per year. I could probably convince her to go with me one of these times to like day trip to like the Orlando stuff. But you know, but a lot of Orlando tournaments, there's a few that are just hardcore gamer tournaments like Huracan and stuff like that. But a lot of yeah, maybe Steve. I don't know. I think I just like her and I don't trust anyone else. So when I'm out and about, I like to be with people I trust. And that used to be my brother all the time, but then he moved away. But when he lived down here with me, he and I would go places. And now it's her. She is my person, the one I trust to go out and do things and whatever. And I don't know if it's because of being in the military or what it is, but I mean, I got a couple bros in the fire department that I can hang out with like that too, but you know. So that was the problem when I was talking to Vince about going up to Minneapolis. I really wanted to go to Minneapolis, but when it came down to it, I was like, I'm not going up there alone. You know, I mean, yeah, Vince would be there, and I know he would be awesome, and we'd probably have the best time ever. And he was going to introduce me to like Gary Gygax's daughter and her husband and all this stuff. It probably would have been like one of the greatest times of my life, right? But when the rubber hit the road, I chickened out. That's really what happened. I 100% just chickened out. I was like, yeah, I can't do that. And it's stupid, but it is what it is, man. So, yep. Today I'm doing something new. Yesterday I laid in the bed all damn day. And so my wife is like, well, maybe you should not lay in the bed all damn day. And then that way, when it comes time for bedtime, you'll go to bed easier. And so here I am. I set up with her for some hours, and now I'm in here doing this for a while. And when I'm done with this, I'll go figure out some other shit to do. And yeah.
Well, I got some good news today.
The
internet people came and started installing the internet.
Oh, you said they were going to put like some
Fiber optics.
Some 5Gs or something up
Fiber
there.
optics. They finally came here and started installing it. Next week we'll have it fully installed, where we'll have actually better internet.
That'll be nice.
Yeah. I'm going from like 1.2 meg download speed to 100. Or not, not 100, 1,000, 1 gig. So massive upgrade.
Yeah, well. Oh, yeah. That's good. That means you can actually download games and shit.
Yep.
Because I remember a long time ago, like when I played EQ, if we got like when I bought the, I think, Canark expansion, I had to put that shit in and like click it to make it start wanting to load. and then go away and like watch movies or go to bed or some shit, right? And then the worst is when you wake up and something
Oh
happened
my god! Yeah, I know how that was. Whenever I was like
and you got to start it over again because it
Yeah.
takes like
a week
freaking a week to get this shit.
downloaded,
Like-
it's just a lot of hassle.
And it sucked because it's like you gave me a CD. So I have a CD.
Yep.
So why do I have to download shit online?
Because it's not on the CD.
Why didn't you put it on the CD?
Because it either came out later after the CD existed, or that's just how things are.
Yeah,
James,
yes.
I actually went and bought a game whenever my internet was down, and I thought it'd be, oh well, it's on a CD, I'll be able to install it and play it, right? No, you have to download it from Steam and all this crap. I'm like,
That's what I'm saying. It's like, now of course you can't even find games
no.
that you can buy on CD.
But I did that
really.
with Total War Shogun 2, thinking, oh well, it's on disc. You could just install it. It's like, or not install it, but at least play it off of the disc, right? No, you can't.
My favorite one are the games that aren't even online games, but you have to be online to play them.
That's basically what it was on Shogun. Well, technically, you don't have to be online to play Shogun 2, but you have to have an internet connection to install it. It's not an online game.
It's just
Well, it
like-
can be, but it's a single player game. Yeah, you play.
Well, there are games out there that I'm talking about where you literally, even though it's a single player game, you are playing it by
I
yourself.
think SimCity was like that on their latest one.
Right. You still have to be attached to the internet. And it's like, why?
Because they want to check if you're pirated. or not.
Skylink,
I think they mean Starlink. I'm not sure though.
yeah, it could be either, or I don't know. I don't know about Starlink, how good it is or
It's
not.
pretty good from
I
what I've
really-
heard. I mean, it's not as fast as what I'm getting, so I'm gonna stick to what I'm getting right now, especially since this is technically a bit cheaper. But if you are in a place where you can't get fiber optics, you might want to check out Starlink. It's satellite internet. That's why. They're like the best satellite internet company now.
Yeah. So this guy decided to keep the armor. This is a metal one.
Nice.
Kept the armor, but I took the head off and put and I think I'm going to keep the arms because I like the armor.
Yeah.
So this guy's a straight up warrior type or whatever. And I've got another metal one that's like a spellcaster, and I'll probably cut that one's head off.
But yeah, James, when you're talking about downloading something, I'm like, yeah, I remember it took me a week to download a video one time.
Oh, dude.
That's
man.
not HD video
Yeah,
either.
Back in the day, trying to download games and shit, and it'd be like, this game will be downloaded in 7 hours.
7 hours? I would have been lucky if it was 7 hours. A game for me would probably take me 3 weeks.
I mean, yeah, it is what it is, I'm so glad things are better now. We can all say that. But anyway, back to my favorite subject. Yeah, there are so many optional rules in Hyperborea that my players have not been using, whether it's my fault or not. I have decided to make sure that they at least know about it. I mean, because it could be my fault. Maybe I should have sat down and explained everything in better detail, right? But and a lot of these rules are definitely for fighters. I mean, yeah, anybody can plant arrows, anybody can dodge, anyone can fight conservatively. Those are all great rules that anyone can do. But it's like the stuff that fighters can do that gets me all freaking hot and bothered. if I'm honest. And I love that. I love the fact that playing a basic fighter is actually a super worthwhile thing to do. Hey, Paul. No, Restream was being restreamed, brother. You know how it is. Yeah, I watched your stream the other night, too. The whole stream. I literally watched it from beginning to end. I made some posts. I know towards the end I got quiet, but that was just because I was listening. There is a couple of things I strongly disagreed with about your guest, but a couple of things I strongly agreed with. And one of them is L5R. Has it held up? You're damn right. That game is 40 years old at least, 50, 40, 30, however old it is, and is amazing. I love that game.
Amazing.
If I could talk my group into playing it, I would play that game.
Amazing.
Oh, yeah. The Common Man Fighter in Hyperborea is just so good. But, you know, that's what me and my bro Shadow, we go back and forth because he has opinions about the boringness of fighters, and I have opposing opinions about how they're not boring. And we will probably argue that point until one of us is in the grave, and then probably even afterwards too. Like, because it'll be like I am with Shawner. I'll be like, yeah, my bro Shawner, who I actually liked a whole lot. I really did. But he used to say some shit like this, that, and the other, and I didn't agree, and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, I'll even keep disagreeing with him after I'm dead or he's dead. It don't matter which one of us dies first. I'm still going to disagree with him about human fighters. Human fighters are awesome. You know? And in Hyperborea, yeah, you don't got to be some Kurgan. You can be a common human. Just, yeah, my dad was this, and my mom was that, my grandpa was this, and so I'm just a guy. Basically.
No, James. Chad Mage, no fighter.
Chad Mage, get out of here. Yeah, that's what I was saying. There's like 2 games on his list that I know and I like. Now, Paul, you actually handled part of that expertly, and that would be Edge of the Empire. I bought into that shit. When it came out, I had all 3 starter sets, all the core books. I was buying the supplements, like the Planets of the Empire and all that shit. But I just, oh man, that rule system. And I'll be the first one to tell you right now, the Edge of the Empire books are beautiful. The art in them is beautiful. The lore is freaking amazing. But I can't get around that handful of weird colored dice with 12 different symbols that may or may not mean stuff. It's like, it's too hard. Ranger and Scout are GOAT classes. You say that because you're a Scout. But they are good. Scouts are good. Yeah. Your Scout is definitely a good character to have in a party.
Can a Scout glass an entire room? I think not.
No, but you know what a Scout can do? Detect an ambush.
Yeah, that is true.
Because your mage, if he walks into an ambush, he's a dead mage. The Scout has the ability to detect an ambush, to track people down.
I don't need to see things to kill it.
To hunt for food. No, the Scout is awesome in the way the Scout is awesome.
Yeah, I'm just teasing you.
Yeah, I agree. Because I have the Fantasy Flight 40K games. Like I have, well, okay, I don't have all of them, but I have like 4 of the core books. You know, I've got the book that lets you play Chaos, the book that lets you play Space Marines, the Rogue Trader book, and the book that specifically lets you play Imperial Guardsmen, like Time of War or something like that. And, they're just Die 10 games, but they're amazing. They're great. And then they come out with Star Wars, and it's like, why couldn't you have just used any other system using just normal freaking dice? But you had to come up, and they did the same thing with their version of L5R. But at least the Fantasy Flight version L5R, it only uses like 2 or 3 die. It's got like a die 12 and a die 6 and something. So that's a little bit more manageable than Edge of Empires. It's got like 6 different colored dice in it. It's like,
That's a bit much.
Yeah, and every die has different symbols and shit. And like, if you did something and the DM thinks it's a bad thing, then you have to roll like black dice. And the black dice, it's a weird game where you could roll a shit ton of successes, but then also a shit ton of bad things happen too. So let's say you're sniping somebody with a blaster rifle, right? You could totally hit that dude and F him up. But your blaster rifle is not only out of ammo, but theoretically broken.
Oof.
Just because. It's like, I ran that game. I ran that game for months. And I just got to where I was like, no, I can't do this. Vic, I sent Vic that one short of Marisha Ray, and he's like, what even is this? And I'm like, that's Vic. Yep.
You're talking about that one.
It was a Critical Role thing, Vic. I think I explained it to you, where Marisha Ray, Matt Mercer's wife, crazy redhead from the hollers of Kentucky, is trying to be sneaky, except her character has really huge tits.
I see.
And they have to make a point about
I've seen that.
Yeah.
Came up on my feet.
Tiggo bitties.
Weirdly.
Because she's scooting by a wall behind a guard, and she's trying to roll to see if her tits get in the way. And I'm just like, that's strange. I don't know about all that, Like,
it is weird.
And here's the thing: these are the same people that would like talk mad shit. Well, you weren't supposed to be impressed. You're supposed to make fun of it, because these are the people who will talk mad shit about
Objectifying women,
the slightest amount of misogyny or any of the G's or whatever's. But then they literally lean into the sexualization
of their
characters. Yeah, her watching the car, but you have to remember that was her, like...
Well, James, dinner time. I gotta go. I'll see you.
You go eat dinner. Yeah, that was her a long, long time ago. She's looking a little different now. Yeah, see, I like that, and I've actually used that in D&D games, where you give a player like a die, and it can be a die 4 or a die 6, whatever you want, and then you tell them they can use that die one time to add to any die 20 action they're trying to take. Not damage, but a hit roll, yeah. That is, I forget what game. That might have been an AD&D thing, like an optional rule from way back in the day. But I always kind of dug it. I mean, yeah, you could easily just give them a +2 to hit or something. But giving them the die and letting them keep it, players seem to like that, How you doing, Vic?
What the fuck, man? Critical Role is that fucking awful that they try to do, I'm going to sneak along the wall? What the fuck is this? You trying to be an itsy bitsy spider or something? Jesus fucking Christ.
Okay.
What a fucking joke, man. I'm going to sneak along the wall and I'm going to kick the sword or the shield out from underneath you. What?
Well, they're playing a whole different kind of game than what you're used to. So
Yeah. But number one is, does the ring involve moving silently?
no, I don't know. But number two is the second she took an action, like of touching that guy's sword, the invisibility
Right.
drops
And I'm like,
instantly.
what the fuck kind of Dungeons and Dragons are this? Is this?
See, I like to talk about Marisha Ray only because she was born and raised not far from where I was.
Well, what kind
So
of
that's why I always talk to
reading
Double
Dungeons
D
and
about.
Dragons player is that? Jesus fucking Christ!
That's why I always talk to Double D about. Oh yeah, Kentucky chick from Kentucky or a Kentucky chick with red hair. And when I was a young man, that'd have been my kryptonite. I'd probably still be paying her child support. If we'd ran into each other. But luckily, she moved to Hollywood, and I'm going to keep my opinions about her marriage to myself.
I was so less than impressed when she says, "This is what I'm going to do," and she started, and I'm just like, Jesus fucking Christ! I mean, come on, really?
Well, the thing you have to remember,
the only time I ever ask for a player to do anything like demonstrate something is when I'm going, yeah, that's good. That's the physics of that. It's just not going to work. You know what I mean? And that's one of those times I would have looked at her and said, no, there's not enough space. There's no way. With you armor and everything else on your body, and it isn't silent. You're not silent under invisibility. And as soon as you move, you're fucked. Why are
yeah, but you know what the logical fallacy that your of your statement is, right?
what?
Okay, I don't know that's a logical fallacy, but you're not remembering that they're doing it for a show. That is not your table. They're doing it for a show, which means right now there's, who knows, hundreds of thousands of people out there that are actually watching that. And they want to see her do that. Because that's how they've made the millions. And I'll tell you what, golf clap, they made their money. No hate in my game.
Hey, there's no hate like
I'm
game
not,
on
I'm not going to sit here and hate on Critical Role, but I am going to have commentary about Marisha Ray specifically because she's from the great Commonwealth of Kentucky. And I feel like, yes, I'm going to say stuff.
God.
Like she's definitely wearing the pants in her marriage. I know that. Matt Mercer with his little knitted throw rug that he likes to wear around himself, like he's some kind of babushka or some shit.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I like Matt Mercer, actually. As far as having watched him and stuff, I think Matt Mercer is a perfectly fine individual. He is a handsome, charismatic man, and he's made a bunch of money doing what he loves. I mean, that's the dream, really. I would say. That's the dream. I used to listen to the first season of Critical Role a lot when I had a Zune because I was one of those guys. And I used to have to walk around and check water meters and repair them if there were leaks and shit. So I would park my truck. I worked for the city. I'd park the truck. I'd put my earbuds in. I'd turn on the original Critical Role and I'd walk around. Back then they were playing D&D or Pathfinder. I think they might have been playing Pathfinder. And back then, it was still kind of goofy, but it wasn't quite as goofy as it has been.
No.
It was just a bunch of guys hanging out. I mean, there was no video. It was a bunch of guys hanging out, recording themselves play Pathfinder. And it was kind of something to listen to while I was walking around in the 100-degree heat, repairing water meters and shit.
Uh-huh.
So,
Speaking of 100
I'm not a CR hater by any means. And as a 100% unapologetic capitalist, from that point of view, I am a CR fan.
Yeah.
These guys took what talents they had, threw that shit together, and made something that literally millions of people in the world love. So, yeah, I'm not going to talk any kind of shit about that. Not at all. You know? To me, that is impressive. That is an impressive feat that they have done. And I will not try to tear it down. However, yeah, Marisha Ray dancing in front of the Batmobile in a bikini, that's fine. I laugh at it again because they try to act all away, but then you see how they are.
All right.
Now. So like, these are the people who would argue about toxic masculinity and sexism, but then Marisha Ray's in a string bikini rubbing her ass against the Batmobile. And it's like, that, I just find that humorous for some reason. I just think it's the funniest shit.
All right.
Is that wrong? Maybe. I don't know.
Hey, if they're gonna flaunt it, we get to comment on it. That's my rule. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but the thing I love about the most is the hypocrisy.
Well,
I love the hypocrisy of it. I love the fact that this is the same person who would like belittle people for being toxic masculine whatevers, but then she'll hang all her bits right out in public for the world to see. And hey, I'm a noticer,
yeah.
right? I can't help it. I'm a noticer.
You're an observer of the human society.
I notice details when she's rubbing her ass against the Batmobile. If you look really close around her upper hips, you can see bruises.
Yeah.
And they're little bruises, like the size of guy's hand, fingers
Yeah.
might make. I noticed that too, and I'm like, somebody has been into some rough trade over here because, I mean, I don't know how you're grabbing a woman that you're leaving handprints on her, but okay. I mean, and that shit just makes me giggle a little bit. It's like, I'm on to you. You're not fooling anybody. But, yeah, you guys, despite what a lot of people might say or want, you will rarely hear me talk a bunch of shit about Critical Role. And it's not because I'm a fan. It's because I respect the hustle. That is why I respect the hustle.
Well,
and if a bunch of people who don't know anything about D&D but think they do want to watch a bunch of people pretend to play D&D, I'm like, all right, I'm here for it. Knock yourselves out, man.
yeah. Then they get the false.
I don't get people
here's
who are
the problem.
super like.
Here's the problem. They get the false assumption. They join a game and they find out, hey, this ain't like Matt Mercer, or you know what I mean. And you got to explain to them, this isn't a canned production. You know what I mean. This isn't following a script. Everything.
I wish you were wrong, but I've had to have that talk.
Yeah, this is off the cuff dungeon master scrambling to figure out. Oh fuck! They just ruined my whole timeline I was going to present to them. You know what I mean? So.
Well, when I used to run Adventure League and stuff, and occasionally I'd have to explain things kind of like that to players, and I would be like, look, I'm not Matt Mercer, and I never will be. And we're not here in front of cameras, and you're not all professional voice actors. We're playing D&D. And it's not going to be the way his game is, because his game is a totally different setup, right? And I'll tell you what, 99% of the people I ran the game for, they're like, oh, okay. And then we had a good time. And honestly, the fact that that person even showed up at the game store that Friday night to give it a shot because of watching Critical Role, you could argue that's not a bad thing, you know. It's not a bad thing. I mean, a lot of them are tourists and they're going to not get the Critical Role experience they wanted and go back to wherever they came from. But a couple of them are going to end up sticking. And of the couple of them that end up sticking, a couple of them are going to spread out and decide, you know, maybe I want to try that old style role-playing game that this crazy dude runs.
Well,
and then the next thing you know, you got two of those dudes at my table now for like 8 years.
Well, I've had numerous people just stand there and watch our game, and it's going crazy. And people are going, just watch. And then I'm like, you're more than welcome to join it. They just look at me and shake their head. Like, I don't know if I want to try this. You know what I mean? Because I'm very fast with combat and stuff like that. I'm just like, boom, 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 boom. Here's what's happening. You know what I mean? I'm 3 steps ahead in my brain. What's going on? You know what I'm saying? So
I do know what you're saying, and I know what you're saying because I'm that way too. Because if my players start taking too long to do shit, I will bust the freaking sand.
Oh, I got one too.
So, and I've been with the same group of players now for so long, we all know. So when I look at somebody and say, what do you want to do? They better have it figured out. Because I'm not going to sit there for 10, 15, 20 seconds waiting for you to figure it out. And if you're the next person in line, while the first person's telling me what they want to do, you better be having your shit figured out too.
Well,
you know I'm getting ready to ask you. It's like this was not a secret. It's not like I jumped out of the freaking broom closet and said, what are you doing? You know, it's like, you know it's happening. So I have had some players who started out as CR type people who decided to play 5e, who eventually ended up at my table through a friend, and now they've been sitting at my table enjoying the game for like 5 years. Yeah. And so I will say to Critical Role, thank you for that. Because these guys ended up being great players, you know. I mean, they're the ones I told you that the first time someone failed a save and died, they were like, wait a minute, what? Because they didn't even know that was possible. And I'm like, oh yeah. If you got to make a save versus yellow mold and you fell, you are dead. And they're like, really? Like, for real? And they're like, okay. And, you know, I guess a lot of those type of people may or may not have just gotten up and walked off or quit or something, but not them. No, they're like, all right, that's how it is. That's how we're doing this. And they've been around now for a long time and become friends, you know, like the lady hangs out with my wife occasionally, you know, so it's turned into a whole thing, you know. But Steven, Critical Role, am I going to sit here and tell you it's terrible? No, I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's terrible. You might actually like it. I've watched episodes and I've thought, you know, okay. But I will tell you this. Don't go into it thinking it's going to be like some role-playing game you've played. Because it's not. I mean, you know, because unless you're doing something I don't know about, you probably don't play with professional actors who all want to be drama kids. You probably don't have a DM that has designed the game specifically so you could drama kid out, you know, whenever you felt like it.
Well, part of that, I'm not saying, part of that too, James, is that you allow the drama, but you don't want them going for a full dissertation of 5+ pages of whatever. You know, you're like, hey, Jim, you're at the Hook and Ladder bar. What are you doing? You know what I mean? There's your prompt. This is your prompt to figure out what you want to do. Or so and so, you're at this hotel. What are you doing? Or you know what I mean? That's your prompt for you to take your character and make them larger than a piece of paper. You know what I mean?
Right. And yeah, I don't disagree. Again, I'm not here to disagree with that. I'm just telling you that it's apples and oranges. It's apples and oranges. I will say this because I can. Matt Mercer's a way better DM than that dude they got DMing now. I don't know why Matt decided to step away. Maybe he wanted to play the game. Maybe whatever's going on. I can only speculate. But I will tell you right now, I definitely prefer watching Matt Mercer run the game than the guy they've got now. I don't care for that guy. At least with Matt Mercer, there was a certain amount of, I would call it professional respect that I had for him. This guy, I don't know what the hell this guy's doing. But I can tell you this, he's not doing it for me.
Well, look at the other. What's the other one that was? They're fooling around with the idea of throwing away the dice, and I was just like, D&D without dice. That's what happened to the random probability of life. You know what I mean? There's no random probability there. You know what I'm saying?
This guy, there was a big debate because this guy, during a game, did not have a player roll a die for his persuasion check because the way the player spoke was so good that he's like, F it, right? Now, in my game, I normally would just give you a bonus.
Right.
But I'm not going to argue that he let a guy slide on a freaking persuasion die. That's up to him. I'm not going to hate him on him about that. Now, when they start saying, well, you don't have to roll to hit against, somebody that's actively trying to defend themselves, that's when I'm going to be like, okay, we may have crossed the Rubicon here. This is going too far. But yeah, not forcing somebody to roll a die because of them being awesome at a role-playing part of the game, I can get behind that. I can be like, okay, I totally get that. I get that, yeah. They impress the shit out of you so much that you're just like, I'm just giving it to you, I do that sometimes in my group. If a player says, I'm walking up to the north wall and I'm going to tap every brick on it and really look at it for 10 minutes, at the least, they're getting a huge bonus to that find secret door, if there is one. And I might just say, F it, you found the secret door. I mean, come on. You're over here like literally pulling bricks apart and shit.
Have you ever pulled the secret door trap thing? Where they find the secret door. You tell them you find the secret door. They open it up and it shoots like 30 arrows into it.
Now, the secret door I did is they found the secret door and they opened it, and there was like a shimmering mirror on the other side. And they're like, screw it. Let's go through it and see what's on the other side. The other side was like, 800 miles away on the side of a frozen mountain. And they're like, why? And then they had to try to survive.
Oh, yeah.
They got attacked by like a freaking 12 or 13 Draugr, and they're trying to avoid like all kinds of crazy monsters in this frozen plateau. And
the Yetis from hell.
Yeah, Yeti, Men of Ling, freaking Scorpion Men, you name it. And they're wandering through the woods in the snow. Oh, they were trying not to die of just freezing to death too. That was the thing. Because other than their blankets and bed packs and shit, they weren't really dressed for traveling around the tundra. So they had to figure that shit out.
They're coming from a tropical climb to that.
they pretty much went from a desert climate to the tundra
Right.
on a mountain.
Right.
And they were just like, yeah, this is terrible. Not fan. But they come up with some pretty good ideas. They ducked and wove, you know, they did their thing, and they did manage to not all die. Now, the last battle I don't think I told you about, they took 16 henchmen with them and hirelings. They left with 3.
Well,
from that battle. 3.
that's what happens.
And that's not including the fact that player characters got effed up too. So their chances of hiring henchmen and hirelings in that town might be a little bit lower. Since like they pretty much got them all killed by now, you know, like there are no henchmen here. The last henchman you took out and they got murdered. Yeah, a vampire with a vorpal sword came out of nowhere, 6 attacks per round. Just started waylaying the shit out of everybody. They're like, what? Ah! And then it, of course, charmed the mage in the group. Because, you know, vampires. They're like, yeah, make your save. Oh, you're charmed. You ain't doing shit. The mage is like, oh, no. And he's like, whackty whack whack. Oh, there goes an arm. Yeah. And, they eventually did manage to defeat him, but it was not an easy task. And then they all ran back home because they're like, F this shit. Let's go back to town. But actually, during that battle, that adventure, which was basically a straight up battle, there was some role playing, but it was just straight up, they were fighting for their lives. They fought around 60 odd zombies and skeletons at one point or another in various groups, probably 20 whites. Mm-hmm. And then 2 specters, 3 vampire spawn, and then the vampire.
The specters alone are fucking scare the shit out of most of my players.
Oh, they were. I mean, when they ran up on one specter, they caught him in the middle of raising a white from a corpse, and everybody's just like, oh shit, because in Hyperborea, specters drain 2 die 4 Constitution per hit. Mm-hmm. So in theory, if you have a low Constitution, they can just kill you in 2 attacks.
Yeah.
You could just be dead. Which is even worse if you think about than the level drain. Because by the time you're fighting specters, you can probably lose a couple of levels and still live, right?
Yeah.
But if a specter hits you and it takes away 16 con, it don't matter what level you are dead. 99% of the time. Plus, since my players rolled as normal, I don't think any of them have 16 con. You know, I think 14 might be the highest con in the group.
I don't know what mine are.
Well, because like they're the only 18 in the group is because the dude found an iron stone.
Yeah.
And the group agreed to give it to him. No one has an 18. All the high scores are typically because they deducted 2 from scores to add 1 to other scores. But according to the rules, you cannot increase a score to 18 by doing that. So the highest you can start with by doing that is a 17. So the players, like if they want to play a fighter, they want the max strength, obviously, but now they're deducting 2, 4, maybe even 6 points from other attributes to get up to that 17.
Yeah.
So sacrifices have to be made. And then on top of that, you know.
So,
if you don't,
James, I was just in Florida on Sunday.
You were?
Yep. Flew down and picked up a car for the girlfriend / wife. we bought online, and we're already here.
Drove back
Huh?
and
We
drove back.
back. Yeah, we were just like, oh, we gotta make this quick one. So we flew down, and of course it wasn't quick because she had to go to Walmart and oh, we need this for the car, this for the trip, this for the trip. Oh, Jesus Christ! You know, wait a minute.
Must have been a hell of a drive, though.
I drove from Troy, Alabama to about 100 miles south of Minneapolis without basically stopping, and then I had to take a 2-hour nap to finish it. So
Yeah, well, that kind of makes sense since you are a professional driver. That is kind of
yeah.
what you do.
But yeah, it's sort of like the test for this car. It's a 2012 and it had 65,000 miles. It was a government car. So we get in it and it's like, it's nice on the inside, everything else. I mean, it's a government car. What do you expect? So we're driving it back and we're finding its foibles. And I look at this, there's this little switch on the dash. I'm like, what's this? I switch it on. They still left the cop lights in it. The white lights that blink, you know what I mean? So it's like you're a traffic, whatever, or parking guy.
Yeah.
I turned it on. I'm like, oh, this is cool. So now I'm trying to research it if it's illegal in Minnesota. If it's illegal in Minnesota, I'm going to remove the switch. But I'm like, if it isn't, I'm leaving that sumbitch on.
That's funny.
It was giving the blinks, it's like it's the headlights alternate and the rear tail lights alternate. I was like, oh, this is cool, But
Yeah, I unfortunately cannot tell you either way because I know nothing about that sort of thing. The only thing I know is in the state of Kentucky, you cannot have flashers on the roof of your car. You will go to jail.
yeah, they had a car for sale down there with one of those, and I was like, I don't think I better buy that.
How do you really?
I don't think I'm going to buy that car for it, but yeah, it was sort of a. We bought it one weekend, and the next weekend we're on the plane. So it was like, Jesus Christ, here we go, Then we ran back here as fast as we possibly could. So,
Well, I don't know. Maybe I should look. That Chevy truck I always talk about that I love so much. That's how I got it. It was like a retired county truck or something. Is a full size, like I don't. It might have even been like a Silverado, but it didn't say it on it. It just said Chevy, and it was like bright freaking canary yellow.
well, I was so tempted at this auction. They had a van there, an F-250 Ford van, a cargo van. And I told the girlfriend, I said, we can make that into a camper. And she's just like, what do you mean? I said, we'll just throw a bed in the back and we'll sort of van life it. We'll just convert it into our camper van, and we'll just take it out to parks and this and that. And you don't have to sleep with the snakes or anything else.
Oh yeah, man.
And just it only had like, what did it have? 23,000 miles on it. It was over 12 years old. And I was like, that thing's got a lot of life to that thing. You know what I mean? So, and you could tell it was like a school district van or something like that. So I was like, this is a no-brainer. Buy it and convert it into something you want, and then not worry about it. So.
Yeah, in the old days, there used to be a guy down here in Florida. I don't know if this was in other states, but they were always selling these vans they called Tropic Travelers. And it was like the big van, like you're talking about, and it had like a refrigerator and like a pull-down bed and all kinds of shit in
Well,
it.
I would have converted it just like a. I might not have put anything like windows in it, but I would have definitely put an air conditioning unit on the top so that it could just run off the batteries. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it would have been like, oh, well, I'll just put on a couple batteries, and I might put because it had a rack up there for the luggage rack, and I might put a couple solar panels up there just to keep everything charged up. And I'm just like, Yeah, I can make this a little incognito van because it had the cage in the back. You know what I mean, for the for tools and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, we could put anything we wanted on it. We could put James's dungeon, a remote dungeon mastering, or
Right.
or just something like that. So
Just have it. Well,
maybe when I
That
move
is
down there,
cool.
I'll do something like that. But I was walking through that auction lot and I was looking at some of the cars and I was like, I can make some serious money selling these cars. I just need a lot, and I can get a used car license, and I could wheel and deal and buy cars and turn around and spruce them up a little bit, make sure they look nice, turn around and sell them. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
but it was
Is
90
the market that
degrees.
much different up there?
It was 90-something degrees in Fort Myers when we were down there. I was like, oh my God, I've never seen it this hot down here.
Dude, it's 96 degrees now and it's storming outside.
Oh.
So the rain is coming down and it's still 96 degrees.
Yeah, but what will it be after the rain stops?
I don't know. Freaking the rain's hot. So like it's not like walking in the nice cold rain. It's like walking in a hot shower out there. It's like, what the hell?
Well,
is
my
it?
girlfriend was complaining about it, and I was like, I didn't have a care because my Italian blood was just fine. You know what I mean?
Right. You're like, it's like home in Sicily. Some
This
shit.
is
Napoli.
it says it's 85 out there right now with 71% humidity in Orlando.
Where at? Where
In
at?
Orlando.
Well, okay, I'm looking at my computer and it's saying 96, but maybe it's wrong.
Kissimmee, Florida, 84 and raining.
Okay, hold up. I'm hitting my little widget.
Your widget.
Okay, 85. 85.
That's livable.
And it's telling me in Orlando right now, 85, partially cloudy. Expect 6 days with hot weather ahead. Well, yeah, it's the rainy season. So like,
Yeah.
of course.
Well, then you got that hurricane season coming up here, so
Well, down here we've got 2 seasons: the dry season and the wet season.
yeah.
And during the wet season, it just rains. Like every single day around the same exact time.
Oh yeah.
But then some days, like today, you wake up and it's raining and it just rains because, But even on days when it don't rain, around 4 o'clock, it's going to rain. And it's just,
Well,
and
yeah.
people-
They say, oh, no rain in the forecast, and you're looking at them going, you dumb
like,
bastard.
of course
We
there's
know
going to be
better.
rain in the forecast. It's that time of year, right?
Right.
And I love it when my relatives and stuff from up north, and they're like, so hot and stuff. And it's like, yeah, because we live in the tropics. Like this is practically the jungles.
Yeah.
If you go to like South Florida, you are literally in the tropics. I think we're the subtropics where I am.
Yeah.
Not raining over here yet, but it sure is acting like it wants to be. It just stopped raining about 10 minutes ago here, and the rumbling finally went away. So who knows? It might meet you over there, Rob. It might meet you over there. But I mean, it was raining all morning here. And I did learn one thing. The thing on my computer that tells me what the temperature is not always right.
So, are you going to go to GrogCon this year?
I don't know.
You never know anything, James. I'm trying to get my shit together so I can go down there What is that? It's Crucible. What's the name of it?
We have a lot of cons down here. I haven't went to any of them in like so many years.
Yeah.
I used to go to like Huracan and stuff like that, and I would actually set up and demo games and stuff for Costume Comics. And,
Yeah. Oh, it's QuestCon.
yep. Yeah, Orlando and the Kissimmee area. We typically, yeah, there are a lot of cons. Like Huracan is a good one if you're into like historic stuff. They do a lot of historics.
Yeah, this is moving over to the Buena Vista Palace, Hilton Buena Vista Palace near Disney Springs. I don't know how far that is from you.
About a 40-minute drive. I might actually talk to my wife about going to a con this year. Like her and I just drive up for a day. Make a date out
How
of
about
it.
you? How about you convince your wife that she needs, or better yet, if I ever meet your wife, I'm going to convince her to throw you out of the house for 3 days at DaveCon next year.
Well, the thing is she's not as big as I am, so all I
Yeah,
gotta do-
James, she grabs you by your scruffy little beard and drags you out to the car with a suitcase. Are you going with her?
No, I'll just go flat dead weight on the floor.
Yeah.
Just lay there.
Yeah. Then she'll say something in your ear and you'll just be like, yes, ma'am, I'll get in the car.
Nope. I even told her we have an understanding if she ever got like so upset with me that she wanted a divorce,
Yeah.
I told her that I would just go in the room and shut the door and never leave. I'd be like, enjoy trying to get a divorce. I'm going to be in the room and enjoy trying to get me out of it. Or the only way I would agree with a divorce is if she let me stay here, kept cooking food for me, and gave me conjugal visits. Otherwise, I'm not doing it. And she's like, well, that's just the same as being married. And I'm like, it is, ain't it? So the divorce is right out. It's not happening.
Yeah.
Because I just said no. Not doing it. Done it twice already. Didn't care for it.
Yeah, I was talking to somebody and they had been through 3 wives already, and I was like, dude, how old are you? And he says, oh, 40. And I'm like, 3 wives already? Are you out of your mind? What part of it didn't you figure it out after the first one? You know what I mean?
Oh, no, I never figure it out. I refuse to figure it out.
Well,
I
no,
will
you're
not
married
figure
for
it
life
out.
now, James. You're married for life now. So,
Well, we've been together 23 years.
right.
So think about it. When I met her, I was 31 or 32 years old, and I'd already had 2 divorces.
Yeah, well,
By 32, I had 2.
yeah.
Got
No.
with her, and it stuck. And I know why. At least I have an idea why. Because, like me, she's a gamer.
They are the best women.
So, all of the friction I had in earlier marriages, where I had women being mad at me for wanting to play 40K or whatever,
Yeah.
I don't have to deal with that. Because I have a woman who would actually play those games with me, you know?
Yeah.
Like she's told me she will play Legion Imperialis with me, which is the miniatures 40K, you know, like the 10 mil or whatever.
Yeah.
And we have so many board games we play and have such a good time with. So, yeah, I ain't worried about it, you know? That is my advice to every young man who hasn't got married yet and really loves gaming. Now, if you're already married and you're a gamer and your wife ain't a gamer, I'm not saying break up, definitely. Hang in there. But if you haven't been married yet and you're a gamer and you're thinking about getting married, make sure she likes games, and you will be happy. You'll be a happy man. You and her can play board games and whatever all day long and have a great time. But if she doesn't like games and thinks it's stupid, you are setting yourself up for a miserable life. I'm sad to say.
Mm-hmm.
And I speak from experience on that one.
Robert Copeland, if you're down in Florida, do you go to Crucible or QuestCon?
I will tell you this, Vic. Robert Copeland is one of the players in my Hyperborean game. I've known him for about 30 years. Interesting how we met. It was the late 90s. We were playing Magic the Gathering at a local comic shop. We lived very close to one another. And he's like, hey, man, can I catch a ride home with you? And he was very young compared to us. And rather than having to call his dad, and we're like, yeah. And we dropped his ass off. I don't even know if he was 18 at the time. And because I was in my early 20s, which means Hungar was in his early 20s.
Well, see, this is why you got to bring your crew to the QuestCon. Then I get to meet your whole crew before I move down there.
Well, I may, like I said, talk to the wife about going for a day. Since it is something we could just drive to, game during the day, and then leave.
Uh-huh.
And then if Rob wanted to go, or anyone else at my game table wanted to go, that would be fine with me. I mean, I'm glad you brought it up because this is actually something that I could have a conversation with my wife about. Possibly, actually, and she could talk to her female friend and everything, and we could see this could actually be a thing for real. I'm not even just like leading you on here. I'm telling you, yeah. This could be a thing, and I would definitely do it if my wife was like, "All right, we're gonna go to the thing. Go get in the car." I'd be like, "Hell yeah, let's go." The only thing I would miss, of course, is my dog, but he can be okay for.
The guy from that runs it, they bring their dog. Their dog is there during the whole thing. So if you wanted to bring your pup, just to bring the pup along to see if they behave well, what the hell?
Well, my boy behaves excellently.
I'll just put him on the table, and whoever's dice he decides to pick up, I'm going to say that player's dead.
Yeah, my boy behaves very well. As a matter of fact, a lot of nights when we're playing D&D, he will climb up in his mama's lap and just sit there and watch us play.
Uh-huh. There you go.
So, but we might, if we do have to leave it out for a solid 8 hours, as long as I make sure when I get up that he goes out and potties and everything, he's fine with that. Well, he ain't fine with it. He hates it. He absolutely hates it. But, I mean, he would survive, is what I'm trying to say. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't have to worry about him, like, curling up and dying or anything. So that is a bonus. But when we travel, like, out of town or long distances or anything, he always goes. Which means if we stay in a hotel, we have to pay the pet deposit, but
yeah,
I'd rather do that than try to find.
Oh, somebody's got music in their background. Is that you, James? That's got music playing in your background?
I do.
Sounds like
it's actually part of
the Goo Goo Dolls or somebody.
It's supposed to be epic.
Oh, okay.
According to the computer, it's epic music. What does it sound like? Runaway, never coming back. I can't remember what the Goo Goo Dolls do. So, one way on. Was that them on a runway on a one-way track or whatever? I
Something
don't-
like that.
Yeah, not a fan of the Goo Goo Dolls.
Robert says he's willing to go. Robert Copeland says he's willing to go to the convention.
Yeah. Well, I know that. I already knew he would.
No.
The person to talk to really would be the wife. And she probably would if I pitch it to her the right way. You know. If I like told her, hey, there's going to be a bunch of board game sellers there. We might find a new board game. Actually, we've been. She recently taught me how to play a card game called Skitbo,
Oh yeah.
and I managed somehow beginner's luck to actually beat her. But that's probably the last time that ever happens, you know,
Yeah. Well, they sort of.
because you know that's how my wife is. I beat her like at one time at a game and then never again for 10 years. Oh, that was Soul Asylum. Okay.
Yeah.
September, yeah, that's plenty of time to actually consider it. And I bet you like day passes are probably cheap. You know, if you want to go just for the weekend or something, it's probably pretty cheap. Can't imagine it's that expensive. So that could definitely be something we discuss the next time we're all together at the table. You know, between the gaming, we could actually have a little meeting of the minds and be like, hey, is this something that somebody would want to do? And if the answer is yes, then we could move into the planning stages,
Here you go.
which is super easy. It's basically just get some tickets and then my wife drives me. You know?
Oh, you got Robert to drive. Robert drives, doesn't he?
He can drive. He doesn't often. He's half blind.
Oh.
I mean, he's got his license and all, but he does have some vision issues.
Yeah.
So that Juju Bit program where you can put pictures in and they'll make a miniature for your role-playing game for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I found a full-size miniature of Clancy Brown in the Kurgan costume
Oh.
and put it in. And they say 40 millimeter, but it's actually more like 34 millimeter from the head to the eyes, which is good because it's going to be a little bit taller than most of your heroic scale miniatures that I have. And yet, you know, it's not going to be so tall that it looks weird. So I'm thinking I might actually do that. You know, it takes a while for them to actually make it and send it to you because not only do they make the miniature, but they paint it. So when you get it, you've got this miniature painted on a painted base, the whole 9 yards. So yeah, I'm definitely super highly considering.
Oh, Robert's got car issues. Yeah, I know what you're saying, Robert.
Yeah, he's got a car because he's drove it over here, but yeah, he's saying he's got to get the car in his name and the insurance and everything, and yeah. So, but if I did manage to talk my wife into thinking this is a good idea, I'm sure that we could all carpool up together. You know. The only rule would be when my wife is ready to go, be ready to go. Because otherwise, you know,
Otherwise, you're doing the Uber.
otherwise you'll be Ubering your ass back because even I don't get to, like, you know, I mean, I've been married to this woman for two decades, and even I don't get to tell her that shit. When she says she's ready to leave, I'm like, all right, babe. You know, it is what it is. So as long as everybody who decides they want to carpool with us understands that my wife is the final say and arbitrator on when we leave, then it's going to be an awesome thing. Yeah.
So did you see the video of the woman in New York City who turned up the garbage can and brought it home with her and got fired from J.P. Morgan? She was a vice president or something of DEI. Like, come on. You see these other people doing stupid stuff like yelling racist at somebody, or, you know, that black guy that was a bird observer. What was his name? And that the woman who had a job at some fancy law firm or something, she got her ass fired. You know what I mean? Just for doing stupid shit. You know, it's like, come on, people. How about some enough brains to think this through? You know, just,
you know, my mama told me that stupid is as stupid does.
oh, I got something for you, James. Let me see if I can find it here. Let's see if I can download it.
People are stupid. I don't know what you expected to happen.
Brains.
Oh, zombies.
God, yeah.
I was just watching the other day the Key and Peele zombie skit. Did you ever see that one?
No.
It's Key and Peele, and everyone's zombies, but all the zombies are white zombies, and they're racist.
Oh, God.
So Key and Peele are alive, and they're like, "Oh, we gotta dodge the zombies." But every time they get near a zombie, the zombie's like, "Ah!" And they're like, they finally stop. And they're like, "Does that seem right to you?" And they walk up, and there's like a car full of zombies that died, and they're all in the car. And when they go to walk up, the man in the driver's seat, the old guy, he reaches over and he like locks the door. And they're like, "He just locked the door. The window is open." And he's still like, you know, and they're like, and then they run into like another black dude, and the other black dude's like, "Hey," and they're like, "Hey," and they're like, "Ain't this great?" And they're like, the Key and Peele's like, "What?" He's like, "Oh, these racist zombies, they're leaving us alone. We're having a party in the your neurons are lagging."
Here's my latest T-shirt design.
Yeah, I like that. So it turned out like they go to the party where all the black people are drinking beer and having a barbecue. And you see like this guy dressed up in a business suit, zombie, and he's literally climbing out of the backyard. Like he's climbing the fence to get away from him. Oh man, hilarious. You know.
So, yeah.
Key and Peele, they used to back in the day. They were never as good as Chappelle, but they were good. Rob likes to drive by himself. Well, you know, okay. I like to ride with my wife. Me and my wife, ride or die.
No,
That's how I am.
my now I'm not going to say anything about my wife per se, but her driving when she's in strange places is erratic a little bit. You know what I mean? She's not very calm when she's driving in those places. But
The only time I've ever seen my wife get rattled driving is it was late at night and we were on this really, really backcountry road in Georgia. And there were like beware of deer signs every freaking 50 feet. And then on top of that, my nephew had been on that same road and actually got hit by a deer like a month earlier.
yeah,
So she was a little nervous about that. She was all like, keep your eyes out for deer. I'm like, you know, but otherwise, nah, she's good. She's actually a great driver. trust her enough that sometimes I even fall asleep.
Oh, Robert's out of work till July 17th. He must be having some medical issues or something.
Well, I'm not going to tell you any of. I know what his problem is.
Well, I'm just saying. I mean, when you pretty much well determine
No,
that.
he's in the chat. If he wants to share his bullshit, he can do it.
Mhm.
It's definitely something. But yeah. My daughter's a good driver too. She used to drive me places sometimes. Back when I was like super drugged up. She's a good driver.
Yeah, I'm just amazed at some of the nonsense going on now in our society. We just let it go. You know, it's just like, oh, we don't care. You know what I mean? It's like, no, you should care. You know, back in our day, our parents would be like slapping a 2x4 upside our head if we did some of the shit they do now. You know?
Yeah. I try to stay white pilled about the whole thing and just think, it's going to get better.
Yeah.
Right now, people are being idiots, but I think eventually shit will get better. You know, people are going to wake up and be like, yeah, this is dumb. At least that's what I hope will happen. I could be wrong, but yeah, that's my desperate hope is that shit will just get better. It could happen, you know.
Yeah.
It could easily happen. Just one day people will wake up and be like, you know, don't stop being an idiot. And then the next thing you know, things will be better.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of even stopped watching the news very much just because it was like,
Well, it's so much of the news is so, you know what I mean?
I just didn't want to be aggravated by it. You know?
Ouch, Robert, that's way too much information. Way too much information. That's an ouch and a half right there. James is going, oh.
Yeah, I knew that. That's why I wasn't going to say anything. Because I didn't feel like that was necessarily my story to tell.
Hey, Robert, I got a problem with my right shin on my, I don't know what it is, but my right shin always gets split open for some reason. You know, you don't have any muscles there practically. It's just bone, skin, and some minor muscle there. But I've been fighting that wound on that leg forever. And the only thing I've ever found to put on it is a triple antibiotic or something like that to cover it up, and let it breathe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that whole situation, that's definitely a something.
Well, as we get older, we start feeling those aches and pains in places that you're like, what the hell? You know?
Well, I felt it recently because, like I said, I sold all of my 40K stuff, right? And the guy who come to get it, I helped him haul out the big boxes of it. And then when he left, I was walking through the house and I just was like, my lower back, a little tinge, you know?
Yeah.
Luckily, it went away after like a day, but. So, yeah, you're right. You know, you get those creaks, those aches and pains, those freaking, your body's letting you know, hey, You know,
Well,
you
let me
can't.
tell you what, driving 1,700 miles, or I don't even, I'll look up the miles right now. Man.
That's a lot of freaking miles. I know that.
Yeah.
That is a long way to drive. Literally, you drove from just about as far south as you could go to just about as far north as you could go and still be in America. You know?
Yeah. Well, the mileage says yesterday they say it was only 1,000 miles, but 1,017 miles
Yeah.
is what I drove yesterday. So
Yeah. I mean, that's a good drive.
and then of course I got up in the took a 2-hour nap and I drove the rest of the way into Minneapolis. So
Yeah, that is definitely a pretty good haul right there.
so basically 1,200 miles in less than 24 hours. So
Yeah. Got a bunch of these. Some people recognize these.
they're helmets, it looks like.
These in the 7th edition Warhammer Fantasy Battles box set, it had a shit ton of dwarf terrain and goblin terrain because it was orcs and goblins. And since I bought like 5 sets of that box, I have tons of that shit laying around. Like one of the things is actually a dwarf cart that's full of supplies and stuff. I've got a bunch of that. And then another one is like a goblin totem pole. Also found out you're type 2 diabetic. Anybody on the planet could have told you that.
Well, yeah, you know what the thing about type 2 diabetics now is that you can get rid of that with the right diet, a little exercise. That can all go away. I have a buddy with he was pretty bad. His diabetes was. He was type 2. He was headed for type 1, and he brought himself back around, and now he's not on medication anymore. So there is a way to cure that stuff. It's when you get to 1 and all your cells inside your spleen or whatever stop working, then you're fucked.
Right. Right. Because like type 2 means that you are
They're just not working well enough.
Either you're not producing enough insulin or your body's resistant to insulin.
Right.
Like when I had my thing with the doctor, it was insulin resistance. And I lost a bunch of weight. And they did put me on metformin for a bit. And it went away.
Yeah.
Now I still try not to like go nuts and
And then they got that.
aggravated.
What do they call that shit you inject inside yourself for weight loss and stuff like that?
Oh, that Ozempic shit, but that'll kill you. That's the problem with that.
Well, anything you put in your body is going to kill you like that. You know what I mean? I mean, eventually, if you're going to keep taking one drug over and over and over again, your body's either A, going to think it's toxic, or B, it's going to crave it. And either way,
Well,
It's
I
gonna
mean,
hurt.
no, I'm not saying like, I'm saying that shit is like literally really bad for you.
well, trust me, I'm never going on it.
I mean, that is not good stuff. It was everybody's wonder drug for a while. And then all of a sudden, like, people came out and they're like, that shit could just kill you, right?
Yes.
Like, no, the thing is, and this is quite possibly an American thing, or maybe not, maybe it's a human thing, is people want the easy route. So rather than working your ass off and stopping eating all the horrible shit, basically the painful way, people want the easy way. And
Hey, Robert, just all you have to do in soda, and here's my tip for you, because I lost a bunch of weight from just all I did is I went from anything with corn syrup in it. I just cut that shit right out of my diet, and I'm going to tell you, like, Corn
Yeah.
syrup is the mother of all evils. I don't care what anybody has to say. And then I stay away from any of that. What do you call it? Fake sugars, because that makes your body even crave it more. So what I've done is I've started to drink. Here, I crushed my can, but I started drinking these things, and it's just natural cherry juice and water. It's basically it's flavored water, and I think maybe I have maybe 1 or 2 root beers in a 2-week period anymore, and my health is that much better for it. You know what I'm saying? So, and I don't drink anything with caffeine. Don't drink coffee, and I don't drink caffeine either. So, but that's
Yeah, I
just
drink coffee.
everybody's
But,
got vices.
I generally, I don't generally always drink it with cream or anything. I'll just drink coffee. And coffee, I don't know. Coffee's a weird thing because in a lot of cases it's totally not good for you, but in some cases it's actually really good for you. It just depends on you.
Right. Well, I mean, and you got to
Yeah.
get used to it. Your body is used to it. I haven't drank coffee, and I had 1 cup of coffee when I was like 21. And
Well,
I hate it.
coffee, they say, can keep you from getting Alzheimer's.
Mhm.
And supposedly a cup of black coffee and 1 boiled egg in the morning for breakfast sends your body into ketosis for the whole day, which means you just start burning fat.
Yeah.
Now, where people mess up with coffee is they put like tons of creamer and sugar and everything in like that.
Oh yeah.
And then all of a sudden it goes from being bean soup to something else,
And people got to watch when they're eating too. Oh, I'm going to eat 9 o'clock at night, and then go to bed a couple hours later. No.
That is my bane right there
Yeah.
to this day. And I know that it is, and I know why it is, and it is. I try my best, but there are some nights when I'm not thinking, I'm just on freaking, automatic pilot, and I'll wake up at 2 in the morning and just graze through the whole house, which immediately sets back anything good I did that day,
Uh-huh.
And
I can't eat past 7 o'clock. I used to have really bad reflux, and so I just like, nope, I'm done. 7 o'clock at night, I'm basically done, unless I have like some cottage cheese or ice cream or something like that. Something that's more natural. That's going to be like, all right, not so bad.
Yeah, I have the same issue as I do with my fasts and famine, or not famines, feasts. Is some days I'm so scatterbrained that I forget. And that includes some days I forget that I should not do certain things and I do it. And then I'm like, man, I should not have ate all that stuff. That was not a good idea. But it's too late because I was just I wasn't thinking,
Yeah.
and I already did it. And I was like, damn. But yeah, I get what you're saying. And yeah, if you're going to snack on healthy stuff. Like, I have already gained back about half the weight I lost
Uh-huh.
because of slacking off basically, and at some point I'm gonna have to go back on my strict diet. When I lost all that weight, it was black coffee, eggs. Basically the only thing I ate that wasn't meat was greens.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't eating pasta, I wasn't eating rice, I was eating chunks of meat with spinach, collard greens, whatever, beans, pinto beans, stuff like that. And doing that diet, I dropped a bit over 80 pounds in around a month or so. But the problem with it is the problem with diets in general. They're great unless you stop them.
Yeah.
In which case, a lot of that weight will come back the same way as you got it the first time. And I got so happy with how much weight I lost that I started easing up on myself, and I've started gaining a lot of it back. But I see it happening, and I'm like, yeah, no, I'm going to fix that. I'm going to straighten that shit out. And I will. And because I'll tell you what, eat nothing but meat and spinach all day, I could do that all day. I love that.
Oh, you know what I love to do?
What's that?
If you want a diet salad, I do spinach, chicken, Caesar dressing, Parmesan, and a little bit, and some croutons. I can have that a couple days a week, and I know I'm losing weight in the morning because somebody's going, "Hey, you, add some food." And I was like, "Oh, I gotta wait a little extra longer here," and it's enough to get me through the night. And I know my body, if it's screaming, "Hey, you gotta get some food," it's taking away something from the rest of my body. So,
right. I will eat salad. If you're diabetic, you want to avoid the tomatoes because they are full of sugar, but you can have chickpeas, all kinds of stuff like that in it. You can even have cheese in your salads. And then the dressing I use is just oil and vinegar.
Yeah.
So if I'm eating like lettuce, cheese, chickpeas, olives, stuff like that, that's a perfectly...
Yeah. The hummus diet.
Huh?
The hummus diet.
Oh, I eat a shit ton of hummus though.
Yeah.
I even put hummus in my salads just to add a little bit of an extra something,
Uh-huh.
And when I was on my diet, man, so much of the vegetables I were eating were pickled. I was eating pickled every damn thing.
Oh, you gotta watch that pickling though, because of the
sodium.
Yeah.
But depending on what you're doing and how it's pickled, like what you want is if you're eating pickled stuff, at least this is my opinion, I'm not a doctor, is you want to make sure you're eating stuff that's naturally pickled. Because natural pickled or fermented stuff, like I eat a lot of fermented kimchi. That shit is amazing for you.
Yep.
But what people call pickles a lot of times in the store, they're not actually pickled. They're just kind of boiled in a brine.
Well, the thing about tomatoes though too is a lot of people add sugar to tomatoes when they're making like a sauce or something, and you just don't need to. I mean, you really don't need to add sugar to a sauce.
Dude, my engineer, I know I've told you about this. My engineer Miguel, Puerto Rican dude,
Yeah.
he would add like a cup of sugar
Yeah.
to his spaghetti sauce when he cooked spaghetti at the station.
I'd walk out of his house.
And well, he swore me to secrecy on it.
Yeah.
Because, so I never said anything then now that we're not at the station, I'll say it. I always thought that was like the weirdest thing, but it's how he did it. And when you're at the fire station, it's generally considered to be incredibly rude to talk shit about how the guy cooking dinner does it.
I had
I
no
need to bring
sugars
down the
off-grid
acidity.
gamer. No sugars. The only sugar you get is from the meatballs they soak in the
I
sauce.
will tell you a secret to bringing down the acidity that I didn't know, but my wife taught me.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, when you cook the sauce, cook it for about 8 hours.
Oh, that's what I do.
Yeah. If you see, the problem is a lot of people open up a jar of sauce and dump it right on the pasta and say, all right, let's go. But if you cook that stuff slow for like, and plus she don't use jars, she actually makes it with crushed
Right.
tomato and stuff, right? And cooks it all damn day. And it is a whole different experience.
Yeah.
A whole
Well,
different.
that's sort of like my meatball recipe. My kids are like, they came over and they're like, well, we want spaghetti and meatballs, and this was last Friday. Okay.
Right.
I looked at my kids and said, we got to go shopping. And they're like, why? And I said, well, we got to go shopping. So we want to get the ingredients. We come home. They make the meat. I make them mix the meatballs. So they're like, so they learned the recipe. And they're like, this isn't the way Grandma made them. I'm like, no, I've made them better. And they're like, well, I don't think you can do better than Grandma. They dug into meatballs, and guess what? They're like, you can do better than Grandma.
Yeah, but I respect the fact that the kids are like doubtful though. They're like, really, Dad? You think you can do better than Grandma? Because I mean, come on, we all know Grandma is a great cook. Whoever Grandma is.
Grandma only uses 2 meats in hers. I use 3 meats in mine, and I don't use any egg.
See, now this is how you know that OGG over here is from the north. Slow cooked Italian gravy.
Marinara.
Because in the South, we call it sauce. But in the North, like I knew this Italian chick who grew up in New Jersey, like Hoboken, and she called it gravy. And I was always like, it always like tweaked me a little. I'd be like, gravy? She's like, yeah. Tomato gravy, marinara, right? I'd be like, we call it sauce. She's like, oh no, it's gravy. And this chick was like 100% New Jersey Italian, like Jersey Shore Italian. And she called it gravy. And to me, that was the weirdest shit I'd ever heard in my life. I didn't argue with her. But yeah, she's a good
sauce. We call it marinara. You know, we never called it gravy at our house, so
then maybe it's a Jersey thing. I don't know.
maybe.
I mean, growing up, we never ate spaghetti anyway. That's something that we didn't start eating. Like Italian food, I was probably at least 13 or 14 before we even started eating anything Italian food at all. You know, we ate, I guess, what you would call just traditional, maybe American and Russian food growing up. And I mean, Russian food is a lot of soup. And otherwise, it was just a lot of chicken and pork cooked with, you know, potatoes, whatever else we grew, you know. So, but when I got, our school didn't even serve Italian food where I grew up. So it wasn't even like you went to school and got like the Italian pizza. That's something I encountered when I come to Florida, and I went to school down here in like the 9th grade, and Friday was pizza day, and everybody was freaking out about it. And it was that rectangular flat school pizza, which, let me tell you, wasn't terrible, especially if you bought French fries to go with it, and then you put the French fries on the pizza and then you rolled it up. Oh my God, that's pretty good.
Well,
But
you know,
where I grew up in Kentucky, what they served for lunch was pretty much the same stuff we ate at home. So beans and cabbage and chicken and pork and whatever. I mean, it was hillbilly food in the school. But then my graduating class was like maybe a couple hundred people too. Whereas when I came to school down here in Florida, the high school might have had 1,000 kids in it, at least, maybe more, is culture shock. And that's when I got to eat Italian food, which really wasn't Italian food. It was school pizza. And I got school tacos, which aren't really Mexican food. They're school tacos. But I mean, all of what people would consider ethnic food, I got in Florida when I was about 14. And of course, I loved it. So, yeah. And then I was even older than that before I got Chinese food. I was probably 16 or 17 before I tried Chinese food. I was definitely in my 20s before I ate sushi.
I think I was 17 when I tried sushi.
Yeah. And the odd thing is, my diet, my preferences haven't really changed. I would just as soon sit down and eat like a pork shoulder cooked with a bunch of carrots and onions and shit as anything else. I will eat a pot of pinto beans with collards and be as happy as a clam. I mean,
men are simple diets. Men have simple diets. We do not need. We gotta have a kale, chard, spinach, arugula sandwich or salad with blah 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 blah. No, men are like, no, slap some mac and cheese on there with a couple brats. I'm good. You know what I mean?
and yeah. So, like, yeah, we never ate pasta growing up until, like I said, I was probably 14. We ate a shit ton of fried potatoes, though.
Oh, we never. My mom never made fried potatoes. We always had baked or like French fries type of stuff. It was always, you know what I mean. French fries and stuff was, vat cooked, oil cooked French fries. Nope. And I mean, yes, McDonald's French fries are good. You know what I mean? But I think that's mainly the salt on them that you're craving it so much that it's like. So, but as for sushi, James, I had it in Hawaii, and when I got back to the States in Minnesota, I look at the sushi coming out, and I'm like, you smell it, and you're like, that's one of the first things you do. You smell your food. It's like, oh, that smells good. I'm going to eat that. And you smell the sushi here in Minnesota. It's like, yeah, this has been sitting well for a while. I don't want this. I mean, I'm sure your wife does it too. She'll go up to the cook pot and she's cooking something. She'll be like, it needs more X. And she'll just add it in there. It's just the smell test. Like, this isn't going to taste good unless I add this spice to it. And you sort of, you know what I mean?
She slow cooked an 8-pound pork butt the other day. And the other day, meaning like Saturday. And I've been chewing on that thing off and on since then. Yeah, well, French fries are fried potatoes technically, but fried potatoes aren't French fries. Rob? Because fried potatoes, my grandma would just peel them and then chop them up however which way she wanted and fry them in the water.
What's peeling? My grandma would just chop, throw them in the pan with a little bit of olive oil, cook them up, or throw them in the oven and just let them sit there and bake off. And it'll be like, okay, there it is. She didn't bother peeling them. She washed them, but peeling them, nope.
We got them peeled.
Huh?
And then chopped into irregular chunks and then deep fried in pork lard.
No.
Because everything she cooked was fried in pork lard. Literally everything she cooked was pretty much fried in pork lard, except she had this weird thing where she would boil chicken. So she would take a whole chicken, right? And throw it in a pot of water, and she would boil that thing until it started falling apart. Like the meat just started peeling off the bone.
Oh, yeah.
And that's just how she cooked chicken. Now, my mom makes some of the best fried chicken you ever had. But see, I had two grandmas. The Grandma Vaughn, who is, I think, where I get all the German blood.
Uh-huh.
She boiled everything. Everything got boiled with her.
Yeah, cabbage, the whole 9 yards.
Cabbage, everything. Everything was boiled. But then my grandma McKee, everything got fried in lard. Literally everything they ate was fried in lard. And between the two of them, yeah, that's was my diet as a youngin. Was boiled chicken at one grandma's and then fried pork at the other. And I'll tell you what, growing up, I was skinny, man. When I joined the Army, I weighed like 140 pounds.
Well, yeah, I was too, but guess what? Here's the problem, James. When we were at that age, we didn't have the internet. We didn't have any of that shit. And you had mom standing there with a wood spoon going, get out of the house. I don't want to see you till it's dark.
That is 100% a fact. Like people, I mean, I know they've all heard the stories because you always hear Gen X, we're always telling the stories. Yeah, in our life, when you woke up on a weekend, you were expected to leave.
Right.
You didn't even come in to get a drink. You drank out of the damn hose.
Yeah.
It was like, because I saw this thing where this person's talking about drinking out of hose, and this other person's like, what, you didn't have a sink? Yeah, we had a sink. We weren't allowed to go to it. So you drink out of a hose, and then maybe around lunchtime, you could slide in and get a bologna sandwich.
The only thing we were allowed to do during the day, it was a nice day outside, is go inside and take a Duke. And that was it. It was like, all right, you're going to go to the bathroom? That's fine. Mom would see you come out of the bathroom outside.
See, I didn't even have that because we had an outhouse.
Yeah, well, I didn't have an outhouse growing up, but
there was no going inside. If you had to drop a deuce, go to the outhouse.
Yeah.
It's about 30 yards away from the back of the house, right?
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, you wake up in the morning, you get your not school clothes on, because I had 2 sets of clothes, actually technically 3. I had school clothes, house clothes, and church clothes. So if it wasn't a school day, you put on your shittiest clothes and you ate breakfast, which we always had like fried eggs or something. And then you go outside and entertain yourself until lunchtime. Then you get like a bologna sandwich. And my grandparents bought the bologna that come in a big tube and wasn't sliced.
Yeah.
Which is kind of good because if you want a nice thick one, you could. And then take your ass back outside until dinner time. And then at dinner time, it would be dark outside. So then you could be quiet somewhere.
Well, my mom was like, here, put on your tough skins, put on a t-shirt, get out. You know what I mean? Your Levi, Sears and Roebuck, or tough skin jeans. You know, I was like, here you go.
What you talking about, man?
Yeah, you were the same. You had the same problem. Get out. Come back home.
It wasn't a problem, though, now that I think about it.
Yeah. No, we had, I
had no end of fun
as a kid because I got to roam all over the place. I mean, once I got a bicycle, I would go as far as 20 miles from the house. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, well, we'll ride out there, you know? What the
and
hell?
I'm sure everyone has heard ad nauseum the stories of me and my brother completely unsupervised, armed with 22 rifles, running up and down the hollers in Kentucky, getting into shit like crazy, man. It's like no adult parent today would ever be like, yeah, go grab your guns and just go out.
Yeah.
And I'll see you back at lunch. But that was, and you know what? Most of us survived just fine. So I don't know that was actually as big of a problem as some people.
I was at a Father's Day thing on Saturday, and we were all talking about the Carrington event. You know what the Carrington event is, James? 1859. The sun had a solar flare plasma released directly at Earth, and so it was lighting up the telegraph wires. Anything electric was, those early stages was burning out because the electrical wires are so charged and stuff like that. It was called the Carrington event, and we were all talking, and they said, "Oh, nothing like that could ever happen again." And I said, "Look up the Carrington event of 1859." And I said, "Don't tell me we can't have an EMP pulse, and our society would be thrown back 100 years pretty goddamn quick." And my sister-in-law says, "Nope, I'm done. I just I'll die. I don't have a problem. I'm out of here." And I look at my brother and I look at myself, and we're looking around, and I'm like, there's only 3 of us around this campground, and there's 14 of us sitting there that would actually probably make it through a month. You know what I mean? The rest of them would be gone. It would be like my dad, me, and my brother were the only ones there that had real outdoor experiences, like deer hunting and fishing and all that stuff. And I'm looking around going, yeah, we're pretty much okay. You know what I mean?
Where my people are from, when that Carrington event happened, they probably didn't know about it.
Well, that's right. But now I just educated your audience, James. The Carrington.
Yes, you did. But the hillbillies in Kentucky in 18 whatever, they had no idea it happened because they didn't have electricity anyway. So it's like,
well, it would be for them. It would probably be the only way they would have known is through the telegraph.
yeah, somebody would have had to call and be like, "Hey, I don't know if you guys know this or not. Breaking
Well,
news."
they wouldn't have gotten anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't have counted on the telegraph either. You have some guy, breaking news, y'all. Electricity is getting burned out. And the people in the mountains would have been like, what? We don't even know what that is.
We'll educate them all. I'll do a little education here for everybody.
Yeah, they were still up there, like literally, like lighting their houses with kerosene lanterns and shit.
Yeah.
Like, whatever. Oh, the sun. Oh, electricity stopped. No one gives a shit. Like, to this day, and I was just up there like a month ago or so, if civilization completely collapsed, like the entire infrastructure collapsed,
yeah,
those guys I was hanging out with when I was up there wouldn't even damn care. Wouldn't affect them.
But, James, just in my garage, I probably got about a month's worth of propane and fuel and this and that stuff in there. I'm just like, I don't need a whole lot here to survive. I mean, if I had a chainsaw instead of a handsaw, that would probably be a little bit better and easier for me to survive with. But I'm good. I got basically everything I need, and I don't even have to think about it. You know what I'm saying? So,
no, that's good. That's good. That
when I look at my stepsister who lives out on not my stepsister, but I guess she would be the stepsister. Yeah, she lives out on a farm, and she's like, oh, I'm all green and da. But when it really breaks down to it, you look around and you're like, yeah, no, you're not going to survive. You're going to be dead. She's got no farm animals. She's got nothing out there. You know what I mean? It's just like, all she's got is a garden. And no, if it's a certain time of year, there's no way. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Her car would be burned out because she drives a Tesla. And this, you know what I mean? It'd just be like, no, no, you're not going anywhere.
Yeah, there are a lot of people all over that stuff would probably end. But I bet you there's some hillbillies up in upstate New York and places like that if an EMP ever hit, they'd just be like, well, shit. And then they'd get right back to it, you know?
Well, here's the thing: is even if we had a EMP event, and yes, it did wipe out a bunch of major systems. Eventually, they would crawl back. It's just
Right.
that the people in the inner cities and this and that who 100% rely on,
Yeah,
transportation.
they probably all die.
Yeah,
Yeah. It probably wouldn't go good for them, but
right.
oh,
And these people that live out in the country that oh, I bought a hobby farm and and then they look at them and, oh, I'd never kill one of my chickens. I'd eat their eggs, but I wouldn't kill their chickens. And be like, oh, guess what?
I bet you will.
you're
But you know the
poor
saying
cow-
about
your
that,
poor
right?
cow- your poor cow out there, it's gonna die one way or another.
There is a saying about that, though, Vic. And that is when a man eats a chicken, one of them is sick.
Yeah.
Actually, that's from Fiddler on the Roof. And I think the thought is as long as the chicken is laying eggs and stuff, then you don't eat it.
Right.
But if for whatever reason it gets sick, then you do eat it.
Then you make them a stew pot hen.
Right.
Throw it in a pot. Throw some wood underneath it. And boil it for however many hours you need to boil it.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the idea of that. I think that's what Tevier was trying to say. But I mean, I've actually been there as a very young child when my grandma snatched a chicken up and just swung it around, until it stopped being a chicken and started being a chunk of meat that was getting ready to get defeathered and cooked. Yeah. She did that for sure. I was like, wow. All right. So, yeah, I learned pretty early on about that kind of shit. So, okay. I am looking for something that I'm not finding. And it is a little bit annoying. All I need is a barrel. And I
Today's
know.
Wednesday, is it? What's her face is on later? Dungeons and Diversity or Dragons and Diversity or whatever it is.
Diversity and Dragons will be on later, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll head over there and watch him. What time is it?
5:39. It's almost 6:39. 20 minutes till they start.
So yeah, he'll be starting soon, and I need to head on anyway.
Me too, my friend. But another great chat. Wish I had time down in Florida. I would have swung by, but I got it.
Yeah, well,
got
next
here to
time
go.
you're down, give us a call. Say
I
hi.
got your number. It's just you never answer the phone, buddy.
Well, I mean, I would start if I knew something.
Yeah.
Right?
You're one of those once every day you'll look at your phone and nothing important. Goodbye.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. That's the thing. I can't be like, no, you're totally right. I check it out every now and then, make sure no one's dying or anything, and then I just go on with whatever, I am definitely not one of those people that's constantly glued to the phone trying to figure out
I
anything,
hear you.
because I just don't even care.
All right. Well, man, I'm gonna let you go, and I'm gonna
Yep.
go find some grub and pop on those guys possibly and see what's going on.
Yep.
They've always got the
See you
juice
later.
and shit. So, all right,
Yeah,
man.
it's been a
Talk to
pleasure,
you
sir.
later. All right. Keep in touch.
Yep.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye. And everyone else, thank you for hanging and the chat and everything. And BRC, I hope your scrotum feels better. Squirrel Hermit, thank you for praying for BRC. Lord knows he needs it. And all of you, Paul and everybody who dropped by just to say hi and all that. I appreciate it. And